Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you! Wow!
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
Now we got a crash. Cars spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the NASCAR Weekly podcast. Once again, here on my channel, we've got a lot to talk about. Bristol Dirt provided plenty of storylines. We'll be previewing Talladega in about an hour and a half. There's plenty of stuff to talk about in between. We've got 3 of the 4 usual hosts here. Darian is on location down at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500. Was today their first day of testing, I believe? He is right there at the front of the action. We're so proud of our boy Darian, aka Black Flags Matter. He'll be joining us hopefully a little later on. In the meantime, we've got Jarrett, aka the Iceberg. Down underneath me, we have Danny B. Danny B talks with a very snazzy looking studio. We're joking. Very coffee shop-esque, very eclectic, very rustic. I think it looks good. I think it looks great. You're doing great things over there, Danny. We're also joined by 2 new panelists for this week, introducing Turnpike and Green of Right Sides Only, the Right Sides Only podcast. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
We're doing awesome. How
I
about
think,
y'all?
yeah, it just started. We'll ask us in about an hour and we'll tell you. So
Once we get to the lightning round, if Darian's here, he'll blow your eardrums out. We'll know how you're doing then. But
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
It's great to see everyone. We see super chats already pouring in. We will get to those at roughly the top of the hour. We want to talk about Bristol Dirt first and foremost. I know we've all been chomping at the bit to share our thoughts here on the show. We've all kind of shared our thoughts in some way, shape, or form. I know you guys, your podcast will come out tomorrow, so we'll really hear what you guys think of that last lap. But let's give the viewers here on the NASCAR Weekly podcast a little sneak preview, shall we? So the finish to Bristol Dirt came down to Tyler Reddick looking for his first career win, trying to hold off a charging Chase Briscoe. 2 dirt racing veterans, you could say. Everyone's kind of a rookie with these cup cars on dirt. It came down to the final 2 corners when Chase Briscoe sent it full send up into Tyler Reddick, ended up wrecking himself, wrecked Reddick. Reddick was able to get that thing straightened out, but Kyle Busch nipped him at the line for the win. We'll talk about Kyle Busch in a moment, but I want to begin with you, Jarrett. Was Chase Briscoe's move on Tyler Reddick too far, or is that just, going for the win?
So I saw some people talking about this because I think it was him earlier that tried the same move and spun himself out earlier. And I get that's like the argument, I understand that being the argument, but it's like you're going for the win. Worst comes to worst, if he uses Tyler Reddick and has 8 wheels better than 4, he comes out of the corner, with the win or at least second. And he's already got a win this year, so he might as well go for broke. I saw people saying that it's kind of a dirty move because of Reddick's situation. I don't think so. I kind of maintain the thought, and maybe it's not the modern thought with it, but I maintain the thought that if you're going to go all out for the win, or you're going to say you're going to go all out for the win, it doesn't matter who you're going against. I don't care if it's Tyler Reddick who has no wins. I don't care if it's William Byron with 2 wins. I don't care who it is. So personally, I'm completely fine with the move. The thing I wasn't fine with is the fact that Reddick took it so well. I'll be honest with you. I was in the stands. I see Briscoe starting to come down the pits, and I'm like, fight, come on, yes. And everyone, instead, the closest we got to a fight was a bunch of fans flipping off Kyle Busch. I was kind of let down. I was at least expecting him to be like, hey, leave me the hell alone. But no, it's like they shook hands and were happy with it. No, don't be happy.
It almost looked like
you haven't won.
It almost looked like a teammate coming over to congratulate another teammate in victory lane. Wait, you lost.
I almost, there's almost more animosity between Tyler Reddick and when Bubba came over, and he had nothing to do with it. Come on, man. I get it. That's the type of person he is, but it's like, man, I would love to just see Tyler Reddick go at it. It's fun when he does.
Briscoe would have had the reach. I think he knew that.
Yeah.
Danny, what'd you think?
I was going to say the most ironic thing about all this, I think, is the fact that NASCAR had 2 chances to call this because of rain. And in both of those cases, we were looking at first time Chase Briscoe would be the winner. The second time, Tyler Reddick would have been the winner. And both times that happened, the second place car was Kyle Busch. He was going to be second place in either of those situations, and then he winds up being the winner.
Yeah.
Now, where we were in this whole situation, we was kind of confused. We didn't know what happened because we were set up. We were kind of hanging out by the Tyler Reddick 3 Chai Racing team. I think Claudia had a camera on the 3 Chai folks and the Tyler Reddick pit crew because there was, ironically enough, there was an open area where no crew was set up next to Tyler Reddick's stall, so you could actually be right in there and actually film the track and film things right there. So it was set up where I could film the track, Claudia could film the team, and we were like, white flag come out. And he had a decent lead on Briscoe. I didn't expect that Briscoe could honestly get him, but then imagine our confusion when I'm just set up ready to watch, I got my camera, I'm focused more on my phone, just trying to get the shot. And all of a sudden, like, well, Reddick, why are you down on the bottom? What happened? Oh, Kyle Busch won. What?
The booze ran in and you're confused. Wait, I thought we liked Reddick. Oh, he didn't win? Who's the winner? Well, Darrell Waltrip said it best on TV in the closing laps. In fact, he said it with like 2 to go. He said it was going to take a very bold move, and he said it nicely, a bold move of Briscoe to beat Reddick. Well, he made a bold move. Turnpike, what did you think of that move?
It was so beautiful. I can still see that moment in my head. So the guys that we were with they were all rooting for Tyler Reddick, and I happened to wear a Kyle Busch shirt and a hat. I changed like every time I go to the track. So I was like, oh man, well, like everybody's got their phone out filming because Tyler Reddick's about to win his first race. And I see out of that when they wreck, the guy beside me, my friend Eli, is filming, and he just literally just like throws his, he doesn't even record the finish because he was so mad. But I thought it was beautiful. You can't argue. I mean, he's going for the win. Like that was pure entertainment. And from a TV standpoint, that's more than you can ask for. I mean, that was beautiful.
I won't argue there. What do you think, Green?
I mean, 100%. I'm always going to be like, full send, let's do it on the last lap. Be nice all you want up until the last lap. Last lap, let it rip, boys. The only thing that I could almost see having a problem with is on dirt, you're already sliding and you're on edge. You know if contact happens, it's not going to be you're in first and second. Somebody's going around. So I could see the argument. I was kind of on edge and kind of in the middle, but it was fun to watch, I'll tell you that. It was.
Yeah, I mean, people who watched my video Sunday night heard my thoughts. Like, the incident itself, as Dale Jarrett said, I saw his quote today, he called it reckless. It was. And my problem with Tyler Reddick's non-reaction afterwards isn't that, he handled it maturely. I'm glad he handled it maturely. I didn't expect anyone to start punching each other. But my problem is not only his reaction, but also the thing he said over the radio right afterwards. He said over the radio that, hey, I would have done the same thing myself. And see, if he did, I'd criticize that too, because I don't really like this culture we have now where it is anything goes on the last lap. Like, I think, if you're up next to the guy, if you pull off a subtle bump and run like Hemrick did to Cindric in the Phoenix finale in Xfinity last year, I think that's one thing. But you mentioned it a second ago, or earlier, Jarrett. Earlier in the race, Chase Briscoe tried the same move on Austin Dillon and failed then. He forced Dillon up into the fence. So why did he think? Try again. Well, you could also say that's the definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over again without
look who's saying it,
expecting a different result. So yeah, I thought Briscoe, when as Darrell Waltrip said, it was going to take a bold move. He made a bold move. I thought it was reckless because I think when he dove it in there was maybe a 1% chance it worked and about an 80 to 90% chance it resulted in both of them wrecking. If those are the odds you're playing with, my gut says don't make the move. I think that's. I don't think every race needs to be Mark Martin versus Martin Truex Jr., but I do think there's a boundary that we're starting to step over too often. And when Tyler Reddick said, I'd do the same thing, I'm like, well, then I'd criticize you too, and I'd expect Briscoe to be mad. So I don't know. I feel like this philosophy, I think we're going a little too far. Things are getting a little too reckless. I understand it's Bristol, it's dirt, it's two young guys racing for first win, second win. So I'll cut them some slack, but that was my biggest disappointment was with the reaction because I want to set the standard going forward that you can't just wreck guys for the win. We need to hold Cup Series drivers to a slightly higher standard. So we kind of talked about Kyle Busch already, sneaking by obviously to get the win. I don't want to move on too quickly from Reddick and Briscoe. If we have anything else we want to talk about, we can talk about that. But let's go and talk about Kyle Busch because he got his first win of the season, only his third, fourth win in the last 2.5 years. He's been kind of on a dry streak by Kyle Busch standards since that hot streak
Yeah.
of like 2015 to 2019 when he won 2 championships. But it was his 60th career win. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jarrett, I believe this means Dale Earnhardt is next on the all-time list at 76 wins. Yeah.
Yep.
So I first want to ask you guys, and I'll start with you on this, Danny. Do you think Kyle Busch, 36 years old, I think he's about to turn 37. Do you think Kyle Busch catches Dale Earnhardt and wins?
Well, he's not really having seasons where he just cracks them out like he used to. So I don't know. You know, he's probably gonna. I would say realistically, he has to win 16 more wins, right?
To tie at least, yeah.
So that's saying, let's say he'd need what would that be? 4 seasons with 4 wins. Certainly capable by Kyle Busch standards, but here lately that hasn't been happening. 2019, obviously, great year, won a championship. 2020, only won 1 race, and it was late in the year, Texas. Last year got 2. This year, 1 so far, and, you know, he backed into it. So
I was waiting for that.
I had to. He was even. Actually, he was a great sport about it. He was actually joking about it in the media center, so I thought that's kind of funny.
Fair enough.
But no, I mean, it's possible, but just right now, the results haven't been there to justify that Kyle Busch is going to do that. I don't, especially if Eminem's having, you know, backed out, I don't realistically know how many more seasons he's got. You know, we're starting to get in that period where he's been around for a while, so you got to start wondering, okay, when is retirement coming? Is he, you know, Brexton's getting older. They're about to have a daughter for the surrogacy program, so you know, he's about to have 2 kids. He wants to be around. So how much longer does Kyle Busch want to race? So is it possible? Yes. Do I think it? No. What do you think, Jarrett?
Well, I'll ask all of you guys this question. How long would you think Kyle Busch could race, like, age-wise? Like, into his early to mid-40s?
He could go easily another 10 years. And I would have said 5 years ago that he probably would race until his mid-40s. I'm a little skeptical now, but I don't know.
Well, let's say he races till he's 44. I think that's very realistic. I think we've seen Kevin Harvick do something similar and some other drivers. He'd have to win 2 races a year for 8 years, and you can't tell me he's not going to have a flare-up or 2 kind of season. You look at what Jeff Gordon did late in his career after he struggled for a while from about 2008 to, I would argue, 2013. Had a 4-win season, competed at a championship level in 2014, had a flare up in 2011,
and even Dell Jr. had that before the concussion. He had a 4-win season, 3-win season.
Yeah, he won seven races plus a bunch of duels. You know, you look at what a lot of these drivers can do late in their career. Mark Martin, for instance, you know, who is someone that Kyle Busch has been compared to when it looks to how much they used to race when they were younger. I think it's going to be close. I really do. I am going to personally lean no at the moment. I think he'll be like between 73 and 75. He might tie him, but I think it's certainly realistic. I think the big question will be, one, is how quick does he have the fall off? Because we saw that with Jimmy Johnson, where it was like championship, cliff. And then Jeff Gordon, it's like gradual, ages like fine wine, and then it's like right at the end it's really good, you know, that he ends off pretty good. You see, you know, Tony Stewart falls off a cliff. Matt Kenseth, really good until they brought him back. I don't really count that.
We don't talk
part.
about that.
Dale Jr., you know, really good even in 2016. Had, I think, 4 runner-up finishes in the first 16 races before he got hurt, and then an injury comes in. It's unpredictable, but I'm gonna personally say no. But if he wins more than 3 races this year, I'll reevaluate, because think about it like this: if he wins more than 3 races, like, that means he has to win 3 more races this year. Means he's 13 away at the age of 37. Like, that's something he can easily do in the next 6 years.
Allow me to kind of back up on what you just said, talking about how long Kyle Busch will be racing. You know, we're talking about, you know, how long will he be racing in the Cup Series, but, you know, yeah, he might be racing in NASCAR for a while, but I mean, I'm the only one who seems to think this might happen, but I could kind of see him going for that Truck Series title that still eludes him, just to be the one guy who's won it all.
He can do that in his 50s.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's what I'm saying, though. When he gets to the point where he wants to not have the long, strenuous Cup Series schedule, that might get to a point where he can race, but be with his family more often.
That could be a decade away. Like,
Yeah.
like
Maybe.
that could be like if he does like because I think he'll average 2 wins a year on average.
So
You know, leading out.
if he does that, 2 wins a year
He'd hit 80
for
He'd
10
be right-
years, he would do it if he does that.
He'd be around Cale Yarborough. He'd be around Bobby Allison. Like he'd be up there. In
To
like
me,
that would certainly surpass Dale Earnhardt.
to me, it all circles back to however long he wants to race.
Yeah.
I feel like with the name Kyle Busch and how he's hated or loved by the fans, I think he's going to have a seat there as long as he wants it. So it's a matter of when he wants to step down. And then, like you're saying, with the drop-off, when that happens, how long that takes, what that looks like.
That's what I'm saying too. It's just all about what does Kyle Busch want to do. It doesn't matter what. Well, I guess it does matter, but it really doesn't matter what Joe Gibbs does. I don't think they're gonna Kenseth him. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna say get out where Ty Gibbs is getting in your car. They're not gonna do that to him. But if he wants to go, he'll go.
What do you think, Turnpike?
I kind of agree with that. So from my standpoint, if you was to ask me, I think he could easily get it. And the only thing that would step him away from racing is what we kind of talked about, where it would be his choice. You know, he wouldn't get booted. And I think he definitely could. In my opinion, as far as from just straight up ability to drive a race car, I think he might be the most talented of all time. Very hot take.
We like those
But
here.
so I don't disagree with that. I think he could have a pop year anytime. I mean, look at Kevin Harvick in a couple years ago. You know, he had a season out of nowhere, won a bunch of races. You know, playoff format. I won't mention that, but it's definitely possible. You know, so anything's possible, and I think he could do it.
Everyone sounds a little skeptical here. I feel like if he races to at least the age of 42, which means, 5-6 more years, I think he gets it. I think if he races to 42, he passes Dale Earnhardt. I hope we see him break into that Darrell Waltrip. I hope we see him into the mid-80s. I think that will be really interesting to follow late in his career. Like with Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, I'm sorry. It was really cool to see late in his career, like when he got win number 90, when he got up into the mid-90s, it was just every win felt like a big milestone accomplishment. And it's great because at that point, Jeff Gordon already gone down in history as one of the greats. Kyle Busch, when he's near the end of his rope, he'll go down as one of the greats. So I want to celebrate those big milestone wins down the stretch. I hope we see it happen. I think he will. I think if he races in his 42, he'll pass. I think at age 42, my prediction, what year would that be? That'd be 6 years from now. So 2028, next TV deal, Kyle Busch will pass.
So
Dale Earnhardt.
you're saying in 6 years he'll do that. That averages to him winning
About 2.5 races a year.
a little over 2.5. So realistically saying he has a couple 3-win seasons and a 2-win season.
I just think he'll have a year where he wins 6. I think he'll have a bunch of 2-win years, and then he'll break off a 6.
I think of a pop-off year like that, but at the same time, I don't think we're factoring into he's gonna have he more than likely. I won't say he's gonna, but he's more than likely gonna have that winless season. I know he has never had it. Jimmy Johnson never had it, and in my opinion, Jimmy Johnson's better than Kyle Busch.
And another factor you got to consider is just that the younger talent is getting better. Even so far this year, forever, the average age of winners was under 30. So the younger talent, like it or not, Kyle Busch, they're coming for you, bud. Even last week, you only got it because 2 young guys messed up. So
now, to be fair, he very well could and probably should have won Las Vegas. Let's be completely honest. And there's been a bunch the last 2 years he could have or should have won, but woulda, coulda, shoulda doesn't go down in the stat book. That's where I'm just I feel like you said, Eric, he's going to have a pop-off 6-7 win year, but I think there's going to be years that cancel it out too. I just think that's just the law of averages as you get older. It's how it goes for pretty much everybody, with probably the exception of Jeff Gordon. I mean, he's the outlier. I don't see Jeff Gordon being the standard by any means.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. Well, regardless, Kyle Busch winning a race for his 18 consecutive years now. That ties Richard Petty for the all-time record. I think he'll break that record. I think he'll win again next year if I had to guess. But there's still a lot more to get to around Bristol Dirt. I guess at least 3 of us up here were at Bristol Dirt. I know Danny and Jarrett were Guys, talk a little bit about the event itself, because we now know that there will be a Bristol Dirt Race again in 2023. It sounds like NASCAR and SMI were holding off on announcing that until they saw the ratings, till they assessed everything. But it was rainy, it was wet, it was damp, but it was a night race on Easter. How did you guys feel about the event? Danny, I'll start off with you, because you were in the pits, you were in front of all the action.
Yeah, I'll just get straight to it. One thing they did bad this year that they did last year was and granted, it being on Easter was probably what affected this, because the guys probably didn't want to be away from their family to do something essentially for free, I think. In 2021, they had some local late model racers there with their late models to work the track in beforehand. That's one thing that Kevin Harvick was complaining about in post-race interview that I was around. And Harvick essentially said we had no one to prep the track properly. They ran some Crown Vics around. They ran the water truck around. And not the water truck. It wasn't spraying water. There was enough water on track from all the rain, but just trying to, get it prepped in. And it's one thing to do that with a couple of cars and a big truck going slow. But I mean, those light models they had in 2021 was good to really go at full speed and really work the track in. I mean, I think it might have still been Harvick who said this, like you got to have like some kind of like heat race to start it up to get the track ready before you are ready for the main show. And in this case, for the Cup race, we didn't, and ultimately we had the mud issue to start the race. So I'll say this, overall, I thought the weekend was really good, but that could have probably been helped if we had something to work the track in, like, late models, sprint cars, whatever they can get to come out there. I think that would be a good thing to bring back for next year's race. As far as it being on Easter Sunday, I will say, without getting, into theological stuff, that's not what we do here, the Easter celebration they had was very beautiful, and I appreciate Bristol Motor Speedway and all the people for putting that on. It was honestly, just religious or not, it was breathtaking seeing that many people gathered around the stage to hear the message and hear the music that was going on. It's like, oh, wow, I figured it'd be a good crowd. I didn't think it'd be quite the size of that was. So I felt like that was pretty cool to see.
Oh, I mean, for me overall, it felt a lot closer to a Bristol night race, not only in just the fact that it was at night, but just for the amount of people there compared to the last two times I was there, because I was there in 2020 for the night race and all-star race. So I liked that it seemed like there was a genuine excitement with a lot of people. They had like a pre-race stage going on just for the track. And then they had, I know the Fox one, and some people I talked to that were there said it gave them like a really big NASCAR race day kind of feel. And I like that, because that at track engagement, I mean, we've been preaching about that since the start of 2020 on here. And so it's good to see that NASCAR and Fox are putting that effort forth. Again, I think that's like our biggest thing is like, just put effort forth. That's all we ask.
The stage was refreshing. That's for sure.
I agree with Danny on the track prep. That even before the race, there was standing water in turn one, like in certain spots, and like you could see it clearly. And it's like, come on, guys, like we're not going to deal with that. Like, okay, I guess we're gonna roll.
Just leave it. Just leave it. It'll sort itself out.
It was night and day difference seeing the perception of it from fans at the track versus seeing what fans online thought. Like, fans at the track, it's like, this is a cool new thing. This is something that, might be the last time we ever see it. We now know it's not. So it was like, there was a genuine excitement of seeing something brand new that I haven't seen at many races. Whereas like I looked online and like everyone wanted it to fail. It seemed like, like when they had to call the caution for mud on the cars, like the first thing that came to my mind after, oh man, I wanted to watch them race, not this crap again, was, man, now everyone's going to start hating on it and not even give it a chance. But overall they put it on pretty well. I saw some people online talking about this, and I kind of felt the same way. Is like that obviously it was an opt-in, opt-out thing for that celebration, but they put it on the TV and on all the megaphones and everything. So even if you were like me and chose not to go, you were forced to listen to all of it. And so I was just like I'm sitting there with like these random people. We're trying to talk, and I hear this singing. And I'm like, I chose not to go, but I'm here anyway. If that's the biggest problem for me, aside from the fact that Mother Nature is a cruel, that's not really that bad. Like, in all honesty, I've been at plenty of races where the stuff they play on there, like the giant big moving house thingy turtle, is always playing, and that is so much worse. So overall, I liked how they put it on. I think that they need to get people who understand dirt racing in there more. But aside from that, I have no real gripes with how they put it on from an attendance perspective.
How'd it look from you guys' view? Were both of you at the race as well, or just Turnpike?
Turnpike was.
We were sitting coming out of turn 4, and so we had a great view of the last lap festivities. But the whole day for me is just kind of just blur. It's just a blur. I don't know when it started. I don't know when it ended, because we both work at our church, so we had 3 services Saturday and 2 on Sunday morning, and then we went to the race. So I got there and I was already like out of it. So,
but see, like you just said though, that's the good thing about them doing it at night on Easter if they are going to do it on Easter.
Definitely. Yeah. It was. I mean, I think it was cool. I would have given a lot to have it just be an absolute packed house and just be kind of that night race atmosphere, like Jarrett was talking about. For what it was definitely much better than last year.
Oh gosh.
Last year we sat still on the front stretch, and he was at that one, and the dust and just the disaster of that race.
One of your friends got cut.
Yeah, one of my friends got pelted with a rock in the stands. He didn't come back this year. I don't know why. He didn't come back. I conned these other 2 guys into going, and they went. But I feel like it was definitely a major improvement than what we had last year, like far and away better. And a lot of the fixes they could do to make that event even better seem to be pretty normal things. Get more dirt people in there, give more prep time.
Take it to Eldora.
Move the track. They're really easy, simple fixes. But
let's take the stands and push them somewhere else.
Yeah. What if we take Bristol dirt and we move it somewhere, literally anywhere else? That would probably
bring it to Texas, please.
No.
Oh gosh.
Texas,
you know what?
No.
Tear up the track.
Oh,
you just got
yes.
The dirt.
There we go. Dirt road course track. Now we're talking.
You could
3
probably
mile Texas super speedway on dirt.
You could build a racetrack probably inside a Buc-ee's parking lot and have room to spare. So
yeah,
here you go.
And then instead of they just go fill up at the Buc-ee's pumps, and they don't have to worry about pit crews.
Sunoco, no worries there.
The race is a ton of like hard left and right turns. You're just going in between the pumps.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. See,
and
why have the NASCAR fan
try not to hit one, guys.
Yeah.
Do you realize how many people are mad about gimmicks in the sport, and you're over here talking this?
You know what? I think it would be great. And then someone hits a pump, and then the pump explodes, and then that'd be beautiful. I think it'd be great.
Safety innovations really tested there.
Yeah.
That would be entertainment. You could not say that would not be entertainment.
Well, speaking of entertainment, actually, I'll let Darian in here in just a second. He's going to sit in timeout for a minute for doing work at Indianapolis Motor Speedway instead of being on this show.
What a
shame
loser,
on you!
Right?
Shame on you!
What a loser! Am I right?
Real quick, before we wrap up Bristol Dirt, Chase Elliott versus Cody Ware. Speaking of entertainment, who saw that coming? Anyone? What thoughts?
No.
I'm really surprised the hate online hasn't been more than it has been. I really expected more, but I haven't seen it too much.
Yeah.
My thing is just don't do it under caution. I hate that so much. I hate when people just start hitting cars and hitting each other under caution. It's like, that's just not safe. Like, just in general, don't do that. I feel like under green, do whatever the hell you want. After the race, get out, punch each other.
Yeah.
But when you're on the, can you tell I've been like chomping at the bit for a fight? Like it's been a while since I've been at the track for one.
Weren't you literally at Martinsville?
See, it's like we talked about on the description is why pay for pay-per-view boxing when you can watch teenagers fight each other on pit road for absolutely free. Like that you can't pay for that.
Maybe we should make a video game about NASCAR drivers fighting.
That's a multi-million-dollar idea.
Darian, welcome to the show. Sorry,
I recognize that purple.
Yeah, where are you? Are you where I think you are?
I am at David freaking Land's house.
Is it always? Wait, I gotta ask. Is it always like? Are all the clocks just set to noon there?
No, I don't think so. But I had a fun day today.
So the song goes, "It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's new. It's noon at David Land's house."
Beautiful
Oh,
stuff. Well,
God.
it's good to
Just
have
a
you.
GM
We were just wrapping up talk about the Bristol Dirt Race. It sounds like everyone here who was there in person, at least, and I know you were there as well, Darian, so I want to ask you, but it sounds like we all kind of thought this was an improvement over last year. Still some things they could do better. Hopefully the weather cooperates better. But from your perspective, Darian, how was the racing? Do you think it was an improvement? Like a lot of people, even the naysayers, I feel like, are admitting at least it was a little better than last year, right?
It was definitely a little better. I mean, the weather was a lot more cooperative. I mean, we didn't have to wait a whole day to get both races in and stuff. And, you know, props to NASCAR. They got the entire race in, and they were just dead set on getting the entire race in, and they succeeded. So props to them. But being there in person and stuff, man, you know, it was such a spectacular atmosphere, especially, you know, before the race even started, being at the little Easter service with my mom and, you know, showing my mom around all of Bristol, because that was the first time she had ever been to Bristol like that. I'm like, whoa. And she's been a NASCAR fan longer than I have. So that was like, that was great to cross that off of her bucket list. But yeah, no, the racing overall, I mean, like, was it the best racing? I mean, like, probably not. I mean, it could have been a tad bit better, because I did notice that, you know, if you were on the bottom, you just weren't going to go anywhere. You know,
restarts,
unless you, yeah, especially on restarts and stuff. So I mean, you had to ride the high lane to pass people and stuff, and then turns out everybody was riding the high lane. So I mean, could it have been better? Yes, but was it better than last year's race? Absolutely. I absolutely think it was, and obviously having a finish like that definitely is gonna, you know, improve the race, you know, in the minds of a lot of fans anyway. So I'd say being there in person was great. You know, I think, you know, the NASCAR Cup Series, if they want to, you know, tell people that, hey, this is the hardest schedule in all of racing, one of those races has to also include dirt. Now, you know, there was always this debate on, okay, you know, yeah, sure, the Cup Series should have a dirt race, but should it be at Bristol? That was always the debate. But now we don't have to debate it anymore, because it is going to be at Bristol for a very long time after this weekend.
Yeah, and on that note, before we talk about some playoff picture stuff in a moment, because we're a quarter of the way through the season, thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs sideways? Everyone here, how do you feel about NASCAR announcing Bristol Dirt is back for another year? Okay, we got one thumbs down. So Turnpike, why thumbs down?
Because I don't know. Like, I think the big thing is, like, Bristol is the closest track to us, so that's kind of our home track.
Gotcha.
My highlight of the weekend was running into Darian in the line to go in. That was pretty funny. But it's just, I'm not anti-dirt. I'm just anti-dirt on Bristol. Move it to anywhere else, and then do the small things. You know, my big thing with NASCAR is they get really big things right. That's awesome, but they don't do the small things, like replacing the windshield and figuring out some of this other little stuff. And once you figure all that stuff out, I think what you have is a great product. And of course, we saw the strides they took from last year to this year, and it was a huge improvement. I'm just saying, you know, don't stop. Continue to improve this, and it will probably be better.
Well,
it's just not good right now.
And you look at, like, the Truck Series at Eldora.
Yeah.
The first race or two was
Yeah.
The rest of them after that, they got better, and they did really well. Like, and you see even the ARCA races, especially when Haley Deegan wrecked somebody for the win there. NASCAR on dirt works. I just wish it would be not at the expense of, one, a Bristol race, or two, just do it at a big dirt track that'll kind of get the dirt community around it as well.
My question then is what do you do with that first Bristol date? Because I mean, we were at the point where 20,000 people were showing up.
Those are Texas numbers.
Below Texas, and there's been more people. There were more people at a COVID race in 2020 than the last two dirt races.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, we'll go to each track once, but that's radical.
Shorten the schedule. That's my answer to all
Bristol,
this.
Bristol Dirt's its own track, if you ask me. So
yeah, it's configuration like Charlotte.
See,
Road, yep.
I've been under the impression, like, and granted, Food City extended their partnership for at least, like, I think they said 5 years. So that's that's definitely gonna keep the spring date, because Food City's on board for that long. As long as they got money, NASCAR is gonna be fine racing there. They don't care if it's on dirt. They don't care if it's on concrete. As long as they got a sponsor paying for it, NASCAR is gonna come. So my biggest thing was, I thought, well, eventually if they renovate the National Fairgrounds Speedway, that might be the best solution, is to give them Bristol spring date. Because then you'll have still a short track in Tennessee, but you'll have it in a bigger market like Nashville. But for the time being, those talks are just talks. They just now finished the soccer stadium here, so Now maybe they can start thinking about making that project happen, but it's still going to be a long way before that ever even comes close to happening. So, with Food City signing on for 5 more years, I think the Super Speedway Nashville is more at risk than Bristol Spring Date right now.
I like
It's
your
so
fairgrounds
crazy to me.
idea.
It's so crazy to me that Bristol has all the hype that it does, and then the Spring Date can't get nobody to show up.
Well, that's the thing. I see all these people in my comments on Twitter, and they're like, "This is a shame. They ruined a great track. It should be concrete." And I'm like, "Well, where were you? I was there 2018, 2019. I was sitting there looking at all the empty seats. 2019, I still say, okay, I think 2018 looked more sparse. 2019 wasn't as sparse, but I think it looked sadder to the fact that there was literally nobody in the turns, because that felt like I was watching a truck race, but it was a Cup Series.
So I put it on Twitter, and I got people like all angry at me about it when I was like, I stand by it. If half of the people who want dirt not on it so bad, and who are complaining on Twitter that we don't go to the normal concrete Bristol, which was really weird because everyone kept saying asphalt and it's concrete.
I know. I'm like, it ain't been asphalt in years.
So that obviously they don't love it that much. But if at least half of them went to the races, or at least made an effort to, or watched on TV, seeing how the Bristol Spring Race on average was like one of the lowest viewed races of the year, even for like where it was on the schedule. If half of those people cared as much as they say they do, we'd still have Bristol concrete in spring. Like,
this dirt race we'll talk about in a second had more viewers on TV than any Bristol race in the last 6 years.
That is true.
Yeah. And the truck race too.
And the truck race.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
That shocked me.
Race was since they started.
Yeah.
There are still some people, though. I've seen them in my comments. I've seen them online. I feel like they think it stays dirt year round. They don't. They literally talk like they don't take the dirt off at all. They're like take the dirt off. I'm like, it's literally coming off. They're taking it off.
Back in September.
Just pile more concrete on it.
Just stacking it up every year.
Yeah.
What if we just have it where it's just like this, and the cars are driving like almost at a straight up and down angle.
It's
something from Speed Racer or something.
It's like, guys, where'd the wall go?
There is no wall.
We'll read super chats in a moment, but Lord Voldemort just said the Dark Lord prefers a 7th plate race over dirt, so we know where Voldemort stands. Also, our chat earlier was mostly thumbs up and thumbs middle on bringing back Bristol Dirt. There were a couple that were very loudly against it, so that kind of sounds like the consensus. Those who are against it,
fans.
Very loud. I like you guys. Where am I pointing the right way? Right side's on. I like you guys' idea in general, though, and I think we all kind of can agree on this. Preferably, they'd go somewhere besides Bristol. They'd go to like an Eldora for this, but business is business. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. We'll talk ratings in a second, but first, we haven't done this yet this year, but we're about a third of the way through the regular season, so let's look real quick at the playoff cut line. We have how many different winners this year? 8. I think Byron's the only 2-time winner.
8.
So we have 8 different winners right now. 12th on the grid. We'll start there. Martin Truex Jr. is plus 41. He's been quiet this year outside of Las Vegas, but still in a decent spot at this point. Early, yeah. Tyler Reddick is 13th, plus 29. 14th is Eric Almirola, another driver who's been kind of quiet, but he's sitting plus 25, a huge improvement over last year. Kevin Harvick is plus 13. Christopher Bell right now is sitting at plus 8. And then first driver out of the playoffs, if they began today, is Daniel Suarez, minus 8. Austin Dillon, minus 10. Chris Buescher, minus 25. Eric Jones, minus 26. Kurt Busch, who I think at least some of us had picked to make the playoffs this year, is currently sitting at minus 28. Ty Dillon is minus 54. And then Bubba Wallace currently sits 23rd at minus 57. There are other drivers even further down, but we'll stop there for the time being. Real quick, just first impressions, 9 races in. Are there any like huge surprises of guys that are way down and out at this point?
I think
I was about to say Eric
that's a good surprise, right?
A good surprise.
That is a good surprise, but I'll say this out of, granted, more of these guys probably could too, but I actually do think Eric Almirola can point his way in if he doesn't get a victory. I think he's just focused. It's his last season and he wants to go out in a good way. I think he's in the right mindset. I think that team's got it all on the right mindset. I think he's gonna be able to point his way in. Who is the biggest surprise though, I think, is Kurt Busch, and really just 23XI in general. Everyone was kind of hoping, they'd at least come back with some kind of speed, but it's It's not there unless one of them gets a win on Super Speedway or something else. I just don't see either of them making the playoffs.
I'd like to say I called Kurt Busch before the season and everyone called me crazy. And the only reason I picked Bubba to make it was not because I thought he'd be great. It's because I thought he'd win a super speedway. So,
all right, we'll see, Nostradamus.
Is that a spoiler for picks?
No. No, that team is an utter mess right now and is in no position to win.
Yeah.
And if they do this week, it will be off pure luck or the fact that Bubba is a great super speedway driver. But it is not because the team itself is good.
Here, I'll put it like this, and I told Jarrett this and my mom this after the race on the way back to the car in the parking lot at Bristol. Out of the next gen teams, the new teams that came in, during the 2021 season, 2311 Racing has the best merch in NASCAR. Meanwhile, Trackhouse Racing has the best performance out of the new teams so far. I mean, I'll put it like this. At one point during the Dirt Bristol race, Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez were battling for the lead. Meanwhile, at the same time, Bubba Wallace and Kurt Busch for 2311 Racing were battling just to barely stay inside the top 15. So that says it all right there. I mean, yeah, I figured, I don't know, I figured Kurt Busch would have been in that top 16 by now, just on points alone. But there's been some stuff that came out recently on Twitter and stuff that involved Bubba and his crew not really knowing that the engine was going to overheat. There was this clip going around of the onboard, like listening to their conversations. And it seems like right now, 2311, they don't have some of the best people perhaps as well, and
there's
I'm not
disconnect. There's
definitely
something's
a
wrong
disconnect.
there.
It's a combination of a lot of things too. I've always said Bubba Wallace is, he's mostly a mediocre driver who has the potential to become a very good driver in the future. I've never considered him to be a future Cup Series champion, anything like that, but somebody who could have a solid career. And then Kurt Busch is the veteran, the former champion stuff. He's somebody that Bubba Wallace can lean off of. But, it's just a combination of a disconnect amongst the drivers, a disconnect amongst the teams as well. So, I mean, again, we wouldn't be viewing them in this bad of a light if Trackhouse wasn't doing so good, but they are. And also, speaking of Trackhouse too, I mean, I know Ross Chastain's already locked his way in, but Daniel Suarez, I mean, he's kind of had his moments and stuff, but he's only -8 below the cut line. So, I mean, he could easily get back in this week. You look at Bubba Wallace minus 57 and Kurt Busch -28, have a bit of a ways to go, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Of the new teams of 2021, Trackhouse has taken a big step forward this year. Seems like 2311 has actually taken a small step back, which has been a little disappointing. Before we get completely off the Cup race, let's talk about the TV ratings, and then we'll go to the famous iceberg poll. We mentioned it a moment ago, but this was the most viewed Bristol race in 6 years. Fox drew in 4.007 million viewers, which is also more viewers than like Coda, Phoenix, a few other races this year. Not Auto Club at Vegas, the first three or whatever, but Martinsville, obviously. I'm already forgetting races. Atlanta, even New Super Speedway Atlanta. Bristol Dirt drew more viewership. The last Bristol spring race without rain had 2.81 million viewers, just to compare. And obviously that wasn't on dirt. So a pretty big ratings win. That's why NASCAR and SMI chose earlier this week to bring this race back for next season. We'll see if it falls on the same weekend. There's some debate about whether or not that's maybe an Easter boost, because it sounds like a lot of sports, including the NBA playoffs, got a boost this Easter, or is that a dirt racing boost? I think it's a little bit of both, but I think that date, I know the teams and drivers don't love racing on Easter. A lot of fans maybe are iffy on it as well, but might be here to stay. Proof may be in the pudding.
It's here to stay. It's here to stay.
So on that note, let's go to the famous iceberg poll. Darian, what time is it?
The poll, the famous iceberg poll.
I almost stepped on your line there. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you did.
My bad. Jarrett, what did our lovely viewers say about Bristol Dirt?
Lovely is the word.
Well, nearly 15,000 of you voted, so thank you very much on that one. Especially since I think I got it out past midnight, because that's when the race ended in Bristol.
Night owls.
But 43% of you said this was a great race, and 33% of you said it was good. So the net positive of 76%. 14% said average, and then 5 apiece said below average and bad. So 10% of you said it was negative. I'm just gonna ask right now. Take a guess at the first comment.
Danny delivers.
Danny
Yep.
delivers.
Woo!
Yeah.
That every race this year, normal weather, DW in the booth for Bristol. Vortex theory is real.
It
Oh,
worked.
God.
And notice it. The only red flags came at a stage break, and then I think a caution for like a big chunk of metal on the track.
I don't know if they showed it on TV. It rained that whole damn race.
But it only rained hard enough
Yeah,
to stop him
it did.
when the car stopped. I'm just saying. I love this meme. I don't think it's real, but I love the meme. I hate people who crap
It's
on the
the
meme. Let me have my
vortex.
fun.
That's the vortex
Santa Claus
theory.
is real. Damn it! Goodness gracious.
I just want to make it abundantly clear that they were trying everything they could in their power to get that race back
Yes.
going during the red flags.
Yeah.
But perhaps, we've seen this before. If I don't know, Chase Elliott was leading, I think they would have probably called the race. I'm not saying they picked
No.
favorites.
They did it at Coda a
But
couple
they
years ago,
do-
but that
they
was
pick
probably fair.
favorites.
That
I'm
was
just saying,
probably
yeah.
fair.
Well, some of the others.
that amazing.
Oh my god, I didn't read the first person's comment. The top voted comment is from Twisted_Nipples82.
Come on, why 82? You could have picked one of the funny numbers. Come on, man.
Well,
Yeah.
he says best part of this race was that it started with a boogity boogity boogity. Absolutely loved having DW back. Isaac Gonzalez, there we're back to normal names, says that was an epic finish. Race was good overall. Weather was the only thing that sucked, to be honest. 3 thumbs up. Napa Racing Fan 927 says this was heartbreaking for Reddick. He deserved to win. The Reddick and Briscoe battle never at the end was fun. Even though the rain tried to defeat Bristol again, Bristol won and the whole race was completed. Much improved from last year. I wouldn't mind if they put dirt on Bristol one more time next year while you're getting your wish.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Let's scroll down a little bit here. I swear, some of y'all write books in this thing.
I miss the days
They
of
write
song
novels.
lyrics being
It's a
posted.
college
I know.
thesis on
I
a
miss
NASCAR
them.
race. It's very common.
I remember when somebody put the Wikipedia article for chicken noodle soup in there.
Mm-hmm. The food recipes. All food recipes.
Oh, here's one from Bynot. Says, if I had a nickel for every time Kyle Busch snuck past to win after the leaders wrecked in the final quarter, I would have 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened thrice. So there's that one. Four Dragons says, the finish saved the race from being very average. Would like to see how Bristol in the fall is. If it is good, then I wish they could do something about moving away from the dirt. Well, they ain't. There's some of them I can't say, but they're funny. So I give you all credit. You're very creative with how you say your cuss words. Route 18 _ diecast. I wonder if this one will be negative. After that Vegas loss, this feels amazing. Don't care if it's a Mickey win or not.
Can we take a moment to
And did
acknowledge
you-
that Bubba Wallace mentioned the Mickey Mouse
He
meme on
did.
national television?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That was awesome. NASCAR fan 93100 says huge congrats to KFB and Dalton Good, but at the same time,
Like he's on the
Specifically
team.
to Dalton.
He's on the team.
He said I couldn't be any more heartbroken for Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Will England says best Bristol race I've seen in person, and I've been going since 2010.
Whoa.
So that says something. That's about as long as I've been going.
That's
Bold take,
that's a
but
hot
okay.
take there.
Well,
Real.
I don't. He must have not been at the 2019 night race because that one was good.
That one was
Yeah, that
awesome.
was the first. I think that was the first race I ever went to. Was the
Dipperito.
2019?
That was my
night
first
race,
Bristol race.
I honestly felt the same after this race. After I thought about it, as I did in 2019, I was like, "Huh, thought I was gonna see a first win. Oh well."
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least this one has a more dramatic conclusion than the last. Than Ryan Newman getting in the way. What is that about?
Ryan Newman doing what Ryan Newman does best.
That's true.
I'm trying to get to that last comment because it's always just it's negative, it because it's been downvoted, but it's always
Yeah.
like so
It
creative.
makes you
and
think.
how-
It's a thinking
Yeah.
man's comment. It really.
Yeah.
It's
Just-
probably my comment because every time I comment anything, I get dislike bombed to hell.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had.
All right, I
I
got
have
it.
to super chat comments in this show when I'm in it because as soon as I post something, the mods are there. Nope, Turnpike's here. Get that guy out. Get that guy out right now.
Well, I found the bottom one here. It's from Caleb Duprest. Says epic finish, but why did effing Kyle Busch have to win the effing race? And by the way, it's not the F bomb, it's F-ing.
Nice.
So
This is a classy show.
Yeah.
It's a Christian YouTube account.
Yeah.
Not my Christian.
And the
Not on my
response-
Christian NASCAR show.
the response is from an account titled Kyrie Irving. Says right place, right time.
Kyrie Irving.
Nice.
So
It's awesome that he takes a break from playing
wait,
basketball.
wait, what they say, Jared? I missed that.
right place, right time.
Oh,
All luck, no skill.
That wasn't too bad.
So-
I was expecting far more negative.
Yeah.
That was
So
bad.
yeah, that's the poll. Thank you all for voting, and we'll
Thank you,
put it up
guys.
right after Talladega. I think we can crack 20,000 this week for Talladega. I really think we can.
possibly, yeah.
Send it to your mom, send it to your
You're gonna
dad,
get the
send it to your brothers and sisters, send it to your dog. I don't care who votes. Let's get to 20K this week.
Let's do it, chat. You guys heard the drill. You guys know where to find it. The Iceberg
Y'all know
channel.
what to do.
I don't know
can
where to
find
find it.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. I put the Iceberg. Actually, I put all of the hosts' links
that
down
on
in the
Google
comment section below. It probably was once in the. Did we ever do the show in the Google Plus days? When did Google Plus die?
We did the Google Hangouts.
We did
Oh,
Google Hangouts,
Google
but was Google
Oh,
Plus
nice.
still a thing?
No, they phased that out by the time we
It's
got
the iceberg
rolling.
poll on MySpace.
I'll give
Anyway.
Google credit. They did a good job sneaking that thing away. Nobody even noticed that it disappeared.
Yeah.
They saved some
Nobody.
face there. I'll give them credit for that. Well, real quick, we're nearing the halfway point of the show. We've got we got the lightning round coming up. We have the first round of super chats. But real quick, before we bail on Bristol Dirt entirely, there was a truck race Saturday night. I felt so bad watching my man Carson Hocevar, all of our mans, Carson Hocevar, with his goofy, silly collection of hats. He looked to be in prime position to get his first career Truck Series win, and Ben Rhodes, the defending champion, swoops in on the final restart. He gets
Darian.
the win. You know, Darren? What do you
What
think?
did
of
I
that?
do? What did I do?
You
Jared?
tweeted. You spoke.
Yeah.
Aw,
You
man.
existed.
Thought it.
Stop using your phone, Darian.
Darian, I want you to be proud of me because I was this close to telling Carson to his face that you tweeted, but I chose not.
Oh, it's
to.
okay. He DM'd
Oh, he
him and
saw
told
it.
him.
Yeah, he damn.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I told Carson, hey, don't worry, dude. You are going to get plenty of wins, dude. And he is, man. I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
the talent for quite some time and stuff, man. And I thought he had that, though, man. I thought he had it in the bag. I mean, Ben Rhodes did have a very fast truck in the very beginning, but then there was a certain pit strategy that didn't go his way. So he had to work his way all the way from the back to the front. And I was like, okay, he's in P2, but I'm pretty sure Carson Hocevar is going to hold on to this. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. But also give a shout out to who was in the 51? Buddy, how do you say his name again?
Kofoid
Buddy,
or Koifoid? I don't know.
Buddy
Kofoid.
Kofoid. I think
Something.
Kofoid or I'm
Buddy
sorry.
K.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him
Buddy
Buddy
Special
Kofoid.
K. That's who he is. Special K.
He's a great rising dirt star.
Yeah, a former USAC champion. Yeah, so I think he has a bright future in NASCAR too. And also, speaking of the devil, I tweeted about him being one to look out for, and then he wrecks while running P3. So I don't know what the deal is. This
You
Shinky
just
thing
got
is
to
out of
put your
control.
phone in
Yeah.
a cubby whenever a race
I,
is
Yeah.
going on.
I don't know what's happening.
Darian jinxed me at the track. Darian jinxed
I
me
can-
at the track. He was like, "Yeah, DM me. I'll talk to you in a minute." I was like, "Perfect." I had no cell phone reception the entire night. After. Okay,
I'll put it like this.
I
I'll put it
know
like
it.
this.
I know it was Darian.
His own mother told him to get off his phone.
Yeah.
Mother knows best.
Oh
Like,
my
why
god.
are you tweeting all this stuff? But yeah, but no. But dude, Carson Hocevar is going to be a future star. Give him some time. One of these days, we will see one of those crazy hats in victory lane.
It just felt so bad seeing him so dejected when he got out of the truck. But yeah, hopefully I think his day will come. At least his truck didn't get stuck to somebody else's truck in the middle of the race. Was it Austin Wayne Self? Was it Matt DiBenedetto and Austin Wayne
Yep.
Self stuck
What
together?
are you doing, step truck?
Oh,
Yeah, where do you think baby trucks come from? They got to make them somehow.
Oh yeah, I completely, dude. They got.
Did you guys
stuck.
have that
Me and-
planned out? That was too quick.
God.
Those trucks got stuck together. And me and Jared, we were looking at it and we were like, we have never seen this before.
I thought they should have just kept going until the caution came out
Yeah.
and then moved him
I-
on pit road.
It's like ultimate drafting.
I walked up to where I could see it pretty good from the pits, and I was standing next to Bozy. You guys see him on Twitter, and I asked him, like, Bozy, have you ever seen anything like this happen? He's like, no, never.
But the funniest part to me was the track workers. Like, they were trying to get them torn apart, but this stupid guy driving the freaking safety truck.
Stupid
and
guy.
I'm sorry, and I say that.
Whoa.
Hold on. I say
Uncalled
that.
for.
True.
I say that in the nicest way, but he was trying to get them detached, but he was damaging the left side of
He
Matty
just
D's
kept
truck.
pushing into
He,
it,
and I'm
and it
like,
was
I'm like,
obvious they
stop!
were
It's
moving.
not working. And like, it's not working. You're damaging his truck,
I-
and his
I-
crew was mad about it too.
I think at that point, I was actually liking the idea of hooking up a tow truck to one and another tow truck to the other and say, floor it, go!
Yeah.
It's like
But
those
basic-
Chinese like finger Prison
basically-
traps, but, yeah.
But basically, kids, when two NASCAR trucks love each other,
Love each
very
other.
much.
It's like all of a sudden it's like National Geographic in the middle of a truck race. It's like, come
Exactly.
on, guys.
Hey,
need
it's like,
this.
hey, Jared, it's like that Family Guy episode, The Fire.
Oh
Why-
yeah, I know. If
You know what I'm talking about.
if we know what we're talking about,
Yeah.
The
you
last
know
thing,
that-
You're a real one.
the
Why-
last thing
why-
I would want is Vince
Eric's
Welsh.
like, please, let's get off this.
Is
right
Vince
now.
Welsh and Michael Waltrip commentating such an act? That would be that is a
and
nightmare.
his truck is right on top of the
Oh,
other.
goodness gracious! Well,
And it's really in there.
I'm gonna have to take a shower after this, guys. Y'all making me feel uncomfortable.
on a completely different note, this was, as we said earlier, the most watched Bristol truck race ever. It was the most watched truck race period since 2017, and it was also the first truck race I think ever, right?
Ever.
With 0 DNFs.
Ever.
Everyone finished the race.
Wow.
How?
Hey, and you know what's funny about that too? I asked Jared after the race, and this is kind of dumb looking back, but I was like, "Hey, Jared, I don't know how to feel about this race. It wasn't bad because of all the wrecks, but it also how do I say it? Crap, I forgot. I
You're
even
like,
forgot how to
it
say
wasn't bad. It wasn't like a complete like crap show because of all the wrecks, but it wasn't boring. And I'm like, so you mean it was?
So it was
Good?
good. Like, yeah, it was good. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it these days.
No, because he had said that, and I'm like sitting there, like in my head, I'm like,
So it was good.
this man does not know how to like good races. Like, so yeah, he's like, it wasn't a wreck fest, so it wasn't like a crap show, but at the same time, it's like, it wasn't boring either. I'm like, so it was good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Just
no,
say
but
it.
I mean, that just goes to show that how some of these truck races usually go. This was actually a freaking good truck race
A
with
huge
no
step up.
BS wrecks and all that stuff.
A huge step up from Knoxville last year, without
Yeah.
question.
Oh my god.
Well, Knoxville set the bar so incredibly low that if we
There's
like
no
turn like
way.
3 laps, like it would
Yeah.
be better than Knoxville.
There's
I'm
no way
so
we'd go
glad
below that.
I ended up canceling going to that race last minute. Like I was so
The
upset
Knoxville
that
race?
night. Yeah, so I was in the chat with you guys, and I just
Mhm,
put
I
there, I'm like,
remember.
I'm like, it looks like it's gonna rain out. I don't want to be stuck there for 2 days, so I'm gonna watch. If it happens, I'll watch it at home. And I was like so dejected until about halfway through, and I was like, my God, I am so happy that I didn't go to this race, and I just like sold off my ticket. I don't care. I didn't miss anything worth
I don't
missing
care.
or worth seeing, I should say. Like, it was
I think
so bad.
Knoxville and then Eldora and Bristol kind of all prove if NASCAR is going to race on dirt, they got to go to one of high banking because that just works better for these cars.
That is true. And honestly,
Well-
on that, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, and they need time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the first Eldora ones weren't as good. Last year's Bristol dirt race was interesting to say the least. So just giving them time, and Knoxville was terrible, as we're saying, but just giving them time to figure it out, as bad as that sucks, is they just need to pick a place. Please don't be Bristol, and do it full send. That's your event.
Well, my big thought is, as like from a NASCAR team perspective, is how much time do you prepare for a dirt track? There's only one dirt track. It's not like you're preparing like a super speedway car or whatever, where you have all these super speedways. If you're focusing on Bristol dirt, that is just one race, and that's the only dirt race. I think we should, if we're
And
gonna
a
do
point
dirt
system
races, we should
where it
have
doesn't
2
matter.
probably, and kind of give some symmetry on that.
So keep
Um,
Bristol dirt and go to Eldora.
Oh no.
Ah.
Gosh.
Or we could do anything other than Bristol dirt.
Then we
But
don't
like the
have
big thing is like as a team owner or somebody that runs a team, why not just be like, hey, that race is a one-off kind of unicorn race. Let's not even worry about it. If we finish 25th, we finish 25th. We're on to the next one.
Someone's just gonna roll up
it's
to
not-
Bristol
it-
Dirt in
well,
a Daytona car.
Yeah, just roll up to Bristol
Yeah.
Dirt and just say kind of screw it. Whatever happens, happens. We got other things to worry about when we go to Talladega or whatnot.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that could be a thought. Is there's only one, so why would we spend all this time on that?
That's a good point.
Is something to keep them, if they're going to race on dirt, is there something to keep them close to home? Is a NASCAR race at the dirt track at Charlotte feasible? Is that something that's possible?
I've never
I don't
been.
think so.
Is there how many? Is what, like 10,000 seats, bleachers? Like what are we talking about with stars as far as like
I
facility?
really don't know. I've never been there, so I don't.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
never
really
been
know.
there. Well, I
I
haven't
mean,
seen it either.
The
I just know they have a dirt track at Charlotte, so I'm like, is it possible? I
They've
don't
got
know.
one at Texas outside of the Speedway too, but it's like it could host an ARCA West race, but that's about the extent of it. I feel like.
yeah.
War of
My
Outlaws.
thought was, I think if we're talking about, I think NASCAR can cash in on the coolness of like how NASCAR was started with the bootleggers and everybody running stuff. So I had a tweet. I think I tweeted at Darian. I think he talked about like where would you like to see a race, and I said the Blue Ridge Parkway. You could never do it. You could never do it. But like a long sprint race or something. It would be cool if you could tear out like a section through like a heavily wooded area and kind of have it, no tickets or whatever, and just build like an actual track through the woods that made it look like they were literally just cup cars just going through the woods.
And there's a tree splitting the middle of
somebody would hit a
Collins's
tree
car.
and explode. But of course, you have walls and stuff. But I think something like
Safer
that.
barriers around the trees.
Yeah, have safer barriers around the trees. Yeah, I think something like that would be
This is
super
nonsense.
cool. It is totally nonsense.
Somehow Jeff
but
Gordon
I think
would
that
find
would
the
be
wrong way
super
to hit
cool.
it.
What was that track
Yeah.
in NASCAR Heat 4 or 5, the dirt track that had like a telephone pole in the middle of like just outside of like one of the turns?
I don't remember.
that you
I
can
don't
It's
hit.
remember.
called talent. Miss it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well,
Yeah.
on that note, we're halfway through the show. We've talked Bristol Dirt to death. What we do know is that Bristol Dirt will return next year. Will it be on Easter? Again, we don't know that
Hopefully.
yet, but I think there's a good chance that it will be at this point. Now, before we get to the infamous lightning round, I do want to catch up on the super chats you guys have sent in so far. So if one of y'all wants to get a 3-minute timer, I'm going to start rolling. We had a bunch of characters jump in before the stream even began. Sir Topham Hat said, Gordon, get back to work or you're scrapped. Cookie Monster. Cookie
You got
Monster.
Thomas the Train references.
He wanted more cookies. He said, Darth Sidious, me hate Kevin Harvick. They all hate Kevin Harvick, so Cartoon Network's not a Kevin Harvick fan.
Join the club.
Avatar Cora, the Avatar issues a statement condemning MSG highlights. The Avatar also thinks that Bristol Dirt is a joke and needs to be gone further. Boo Kevin Harvick. And Joey Logano. We have a Logano hate here as well.
Great video, by the way, Danny. Great video.
Cavante Caldwell, good to see you. Who do you guys think is the GOAT? I say Jimmy Johnson because he found success in one of the toughest eras in NASCAR. No beef if you guys say senior. Oh, no, they're all saying senior.
I disagree with that. I don't think so.
I can't pick one. They all have good arguments.
See, I'd go great.
Yeah,
I think greatest is Jimmy Johnson. I think best, most talented is Jeff Gordon. That's my take.
My vote is the greatest winner of all time and the most talented of all time are two separate things. I'm a diehard Richard Petty fan, greatest winner of all time. But I personally think that David Pearson and or Kyle Busch could be the greatest actual technical race car driver of all time.
That's fair.
Bonus points to Pearson because he won like 105 races.
And he raced up
pretty
part-time a
much-
lot of the time.
And pretty much all of those, he had to beat Richard Petty.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's
I
fair.
think that David Pearson is probably who I would say is the greatest of all time.
And there were a lot of states he wasn't allowed in at different points of his career, so he couldn't race all the
And
stuff.
also, can't forget Jimmy Johnson, too. Can't forget you mentioning Jimmy Johnson as well.
I actually say, as far as Eric said, most talented was Jeff Gordon. I actually say Tony Stewart because of how talented he was across all disciplines of racing.
Well, if we're talking about driver, I think you can almost throw, not yet, but maybe one day you might even be able to throw Kyle Larson into that mix. But if we're talking strictly stock NASCAR stock cars, I still think I give Gordon the edge.
Strictly
I mean, Tony's a 3-time champion.
Jeff's a 4. I mean, we can argue Gordon versus Stewart, but I don't know. Alan Knott, thank you for the 20. Very generous. North Wilkesboro thoughts? We'll get to those actually in just a moment. As a longtime fan, the news renewed me, caring and brought tears to my eyes since I saw my first Cup race at age 6. Yes, I'm old, but I hope at some point in the future the Cup Series races there again. I think that'd be great. We'll talk about North Wilkesboro in just a short bit. Thank you for the super chat, Alan. Thank you, JD Lan. Just said for $20. Just said NASCAR. We love the enthusiasm. Thank you for the very
Woo,
generous
NASCAR.
support.
NASCAR.
Nicholas Gray, always good to see you. If you love you some Rowdy, let me hear you say boo. I like that. Lord Voldemort says he's proud to be part of the alliance to end Harvick with the Avatar and Darth Sidious and all those other characters. John Vanderventer, thank you for the super chat, said congratulations, Jordan Anderson. That's right, got married last week to Larry McReynolds' daughter. Congratulations to
I thought he was
them.
going to leave it at Larry McReynolds.
I didn't-
Jordan Anderson got married to Larry McReynolds.
We all wish.
I didn't realize that's who he's married
Less
to.
than 10 seconds.
Last one.
One more. We'll actually do two more here. Beast of Metal 1989. Thank you for the very generous 20. So between the Bristol dirt weather being the equivalent of seagull guano, the freezing cold concrete that couldn't absorb rubber, and at Martinsville and Richmond, it's clear NASCAR needs to put all 2 to 3 weeks later. It's tough. Something's got to fill this early spring schedule. But yeah, maybe move some of those later in the season would be helpful. And last one for now, Nova Stone 12. Thank you for the 2. Tyler Reddick is going to be the next Mark Martin. He was very classy, very
possible.
polite, very nice. He's been aggressive in the past, though. I don't know if I can go quite there yet, but we have dozens of more super chats. I apologize. We will get to those towards the end of the show. Thank you all so much for sticking with us. We have a full slate of content ahead. Before we get to the lightning round, we have to thank our first sponsor tonight, Lionel Racing. Lionel is the official diecast of NASCAR. You can order the all-new 2022 diecast of your favorite driver now at lionelracing.com or at any authorized Lionel retailer. I saw it was pretty cool. I think Roush Fenway, RFK's Twitter account, had like some of the prototype next-gen bodies out on display, fully painted and everything, and the chrome numbers, reflective stuff looked really, really sharp. So really excited for the first next-gen diecast to roll out here hopefully shortly. And be sure to check out, everyone's so close to the camera, be sure to check out Lionel's NASCAR.
Oh, don't you join it.
NASCAR Authentics wave at a Walmart near you. We have a lot of diecast to get to. We have 6 panelists here. I see Kyle Busch M&M's in Danny B's hands. What car is that, Danny?
So this is in honor of Mr. 60 Wins. This is one of the only Kyle Busch diecasts I have. This is the 2008. So this is the original M&M's paint scheme. But this is in, I think, the either liquid color or chrome color finish. I think it's liquid color. It's a nice looking car, and I think I got this signed by Kyle in 2019, actually.
I was there when you got that signed. I remember that. That was in Bristol.
Yes, you were.
Jared, what's that there? Black number 8? Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So this was a part of a commemorative paint scheme line the DEI did in 2006, which was 5 years after Dale Sr.'s passing. I believe the race weekend was on his birthday weekend. So Truex and Menard in the Xfinity Series, and then Truex and Junior and Cup ran Dale Earnhardt's scheme with their numbers and sponsors and everything. And I remember my uncle and my grandpa were at this race. And so I figured Talladega weekend's coming up. You know, it's the last race of April for the Cup Series. So it's the closest race, really, if you think about it in this month, to what Earnhardt's birthday would have been. The crazy part for me is that I stopped and thought about it when I picked it up today. This car is 16 years old.
Man,
And that's just crazy to me because I remember
It
this
could get
like
his
it was
driver's
yesterday.
license.
yeah.
It could.
Okay.
Darian, did you steal one of David's cards? Is this a Kyle
I
Larson
did.
video? Oh,
This is a Kyle Larson
Sound the alarm.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the 2021 championship scheme from Kyle Larson. It's really nice. I haven't seen one of these in person until I got to David's house, but I also have another champion, an Indy 500 champion, Kester.
I got the double feature.
Wrong
The
show.
double feature.
Well, wait a minute.
He has
Wait a
the
minute.
actual-
We're doing doubles?
But wait, can we talk about the person there? Where'd that come
What
from?
does it come with the
Hey,
guy?
this came with it, I guess.
Did
I
David
don't know.
make
got
that
a guy.
himself?
Well,
Did-
He's got a guy.
If we're doing different champions and stuff,
Oh, God.
John Force. Oh,
Whoa.
that wasn't part of the dice.
Nice.
Not
But
quite
yeah,
as
no,
exciting. Did he give a John Force action figure that came with that, Jared?
Hey,
No, but it opens up.
Oh,
is
that's
that
pretty
one
cool.
is that one based on a Fox Body Mustang? I can't tell.
What?
It says GM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, these IndyCar
Well,
diecast are pretty
no.
underrated too. So I don't know.
pretty-
I
that's
don't know where
pretty
the
tight.
action figure came from, but hey, it's awesome.
What do you guys have over here? Right sides only. I see Kyle Busch. Chase. Go with Chase Elliott first.
I got the cursed number placement from the 2020 All-Star race. First race I went back to after I didn't go to races for a little while. So
Really, none of us did for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to think about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But got the cursed number placement that didn't come back, thankfully.
Facts.
It's awesome. Awesome car. So I have the Kyle Busch Homestead win. I had this signed in person when at the Daytona 500 this year. He was doing a rowdy dealership signing, and this was the only car I took. It's not a rowdy dealership. I guess a 7-Eleven is technically a rowdy dealership, but
What's the
That's
loan option?
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
So I can go in and argue that I can get that cheaper at the quick stop, so then they'll go down on that.
I don't think they'd go for it. But I'm a big diecast guy. This is probably my greatest one I have, but I've hidden other diecasts all over. I've got the Peter Max Dale Earnhardt Senior, which I'm wearing the shirt of. There's a Ty
That's
Gibbs
nice.
back there. There's a Elliott Roval, the Mac Tonight car. Kyle Busch signed Skittles, signed Ryan Blaney, and then behind him we've got a Bowman, a signed Richard Petty, and a Chase Elliott. So
I think Eric about threw back when you said Ty Gibbs. You have Ty Gibbs back there.
I didn't even know they made Ty Gibbs diecast yet. I
That's
didn't
not
realize.
Ty Gibbs.
that's the Richard Petty one.
Oh yeah.
There's Gibbs. Yep.
Oh wow. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh,
They would have made that one. Yeah.
I actually saw that one for sale. Some of the tents in Bristol this weekend.
That's awesome.
So I always collect them signed for some reason. So
I've got Sterling Marlin, the Silver Bullet. I saw Matt DiBenedetto, I believe, is running a Silver Bullet throwback on his truck at Darlington in a couple weeks. So I feel like I haven't showed this one off on the show in a while. Figured I would. It's iconic. The bright reddish orange pops on the silver. Who doesn't love this classic paint scheme? So on that note, thank you to Lionel for sponsoring the show. Gentlemen, do you feel a switch in the air? Things are getting restless out here in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Darian is breathing in. Oh my goodness.
The lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Did you break David's mic?
I'm waiting for David to come in and think you're dead.
Where is David? Did you break in?
He's in the other room.
I pulled my earbuds out, and as they were right here, all I heard was just screaming as loud as I could. I was like,
this is
just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have helped.
Anyways, let me finish it up. Anyways, Jarrett, what do we have on tap for today?
Well, we got a few things. I'm gonna roll through them ultra quick here. So Bristol is gonna have another night race on the dirt in 2023, according to Bob. Pinty's has also come back and retained its sponsorship for the Canadian NASCAR Series through 2026. Food City also at the race announced a 5-year extension to its deal with them. Larry Mack is going to be the crew chief for Jeffrey Earnhardt in the black number 3 at Talladega in the Xfinity Series.
They're going all in.
Last
Didn't realize
Sunday, Hendrick Motorsports became the first team in NASCAR history to score over 2,000 total team top 10s. Noah Gragson is partnered with Beard Motorsports, and it will be sponsored by Wendy's.
Such a good-looking car.
That's frosty today.
And fire suit,
his fire suit looks just like someone working at Wendy's. Rocket League.
Yeah, the helmet is the best part.
Rocket League has a new NASCAR DLC debuting today. Not this week, today. Well, yes, this week. And then last but not least, I threw this one in for Eric. Matt Kenseth ran the Boston Marathon at 3 hours, 1 minute, and 40 seconds, which, for anyone who wants to know, equates to about 6 minutes and 56 seconds per mile pace. Don't worry, everyone. I could run that in probably an hour and a half slower.
Hey, and fun fact, I don't mean to rub it in y'all's faces, but we were talking about him being the greatest ever earlier. He actually beat Jimmy Johnson's time in the same race a couple of years ago. Jimmy ran like a 3 hour, 8 minute. So Kenseth was 7-8 minutes faster than Jimmy Johnson. So I think it was Nathan, a Kenseth fan on Twitter, said this is revenge sort of for 2006 and 2013. I'll take what I can get. This one goes to Kenseth, the good old boy. But there you have it. That was the famous lightning round.
And that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Before we get into officially the second half of the show, we have to thank our other sponsor, Forney Industries. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and more. Great for do-it-yourselfers, or if you're a professional metalworker, doesn't matter where you land on the spectrum. Forney has everything you need for your next project. Shop Forney's top-of-the-line products at forneyind.com, or you can check them out at an authorized Forney dealer near you. Look for that green logo. Be sure to check them out. Thank you to Forney for being a long-time sponsor of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Always good to talk about them every single week. Now, gentlemen, before we get to Talladega picks, and we will again get to the rest of the super chats at the very end, there was some pretty big news this past weekend. I think, Danny, you were in the room, if I'm not mistaken, when they announced that North Wilkesboro has a plan to return.
Yeah, so I'll say this as far as the build-up to that. Everyone in the media center, about an hour and a half before, we essentially Jarrett helped get that news out there.
Broke that news.
But even before Jarrett actually put that out there, we all knew it was something to do with North Wilkesboro. We just didn't know what exactly. But it was becoming very clear about the time that Jarrett tweeted that out. It was like, okay, this is not going to be what everyone was hoping it would be, but it's still going to be somewhat okay.
Yeah, basically, North Wilkesboro at the very least has a plan to resume racing. They're calling it the racetrack revival. They're going to have grassroots asphalt racing beginning this August in just a few months. Then in September, they're going to tear up the old surface and they're actually going to run dirt racing there in October. They're going to repave it in time for 2023, but yeah, go ahead, Danny.
The cool thing though, when they do the asphalt race, somehow they're going to use the original asphalt that's still there.
Dale Jr. must have cleaned it up real nice a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I hope they ain't got too much aluminum, those cars, because this is going to be a bumpy ride for those guys. I'm just telling you that.
Yeah.
But then what's even cooler, when they scrape it all up, the plan is to use majority of the original dirt that still remains underneath that track for doing the track itself. They don't intend to lay too much more down on top of that, but the plan is basically to try to use as much of the original dirt as possible, which I like that. I like that if we're going to do this, they're trying to use as much original remaining elements to it as possible. But then once that repave happens, we've all seen the renders online of the proposed changes to the outside stuff, and essentially my takeaway, and knowing how much of a business person that Marcus Smith is, he's not going to do something if he doesn't plan to get the end result of NASCAR or a top level sporting event at a facility that he owns. Every decision that Marcus Smith has made has been with the highest level possible. When they did Colossus TV at Bristol in 2016, the reason was to get an NCAA football game at the facility. They did that when they put the dirt on the track. The goal was to get a bigger crowd. Well, they kind of got that again. So everything he's done has been for the betterment of the best sporting event possible. In this case, he's going to want NASCAR. If it looks like it's going to be the Truck Series, and so be it. But I have to say, although he did not say it specifically, you have to believe that he wants more than Truck Series deep down.
Yeah, if you think about it, if he says right now that Cup Series is, hopefully we have Cup Series in 25. Well, then if 25 rolls around, something happens, they don't get it, then it's a big letdown and more people are down on it. If he just promises truck and then he delivers Xfinity Cup, all that is good publicity versus what could be bad publicity if he promises something that he doesn't get. That's my thought with that announcement.
Personally, I think this is a feel-good story for not only just the Speedway, but for that entire community. I mean, this is a track and also a community that basically built the foundation of NASCAR. And then, unfortunately, once NASCAR was peaking, in the late 90s and early 2000s, they abandoned it. But I find it very funny that SMI were the ones who bought the track and then left it sitting there entirely, and now they're going to do what's right and buy the track again. Only this time they are going to try and revive it. And also, this is good too, because I had assumed, I think some others did, that when it was scanned in iRacing, I thought that was the death knell for the track. I was like, okay, they're probably going to eventually, destroy it entirely. So at least it's on iRacing for some type of, how do you say it?
Posterity, I guess.
Or posterity.
Sure.
Preservation. Yeah. So at least it's there for that. But hey, this is another good deal. Was I surprised that this was going to be grassroots? I'll be honest, a little bit, because this isn't the first time the track did this. They actually did this back in 2010 and 2011. Benny Parsons' widow helped lead that charge. But here's the difference. It wasn't under SMI. So I think this time under SMI, it has a chance to really succeed. And like Danny had alluded to earlier, they are not just going to redo the track and do all this just to host grassroots racing forever, okay? Now, will it always be a part of it? Perhaps, but they also want to lead this to bigger and better things. And like Right Sides Only was talking about, I feel just saying hey, our main goal right now, the best case scenario right now is to host a truck race. I think that's perfect. So if Xfinity and Cup ever go there in the future, you over-delivered according to the fan base and stuff, so because I honestly feel if they said our main goal is to get to Cup and stuff like that, then those expectations are so high that, hey, anything other than that is basically considered a failure. So I think it's a great way to get the track, back in business and stuff, start off small with the grassroots racing and stuff. And then being able to race on mostly the original dirt at North Wilkesboro, that dirt's been there since like the 40s, 50s and stuff, and that'll be absolutely spectacular. And, honestly, as soon as this announcement was made, I looked at Jared. I'm like, hey, are we going to go to cover this? And like, yes. Yeah. We're going to try and get credentials for that. So I am absolutely happy for that community, and death to Texas.
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into that, I would say that the big thing right now is that I think, and at the time when I saw people talking about this online, I was like, wow, it's really negative, but it's completely true, is that people need to both show up in person, and then if it's streamed anywhere, like, watch it. This is not the time to take your foot off the gas. This isn't a hooray, we got it, that's as far as we want. Like, it's the same thing with the Bristol Spring Race. If you want it, show you want it. Show the only way right now to show people that people want North Wilkesboro back, go to these races. If SRX goes there in 23, if it ends up happening, go to that race, watch it on TV. Like, that right there is how you can tell people that run these facilities how much you want it. And that's again, I can't say it enough, is that this is a stepping stone. This is a piece of the ladder up to the Cup Series that we want it there. Now, at the moment, do I think that we we'll see North Wilkesboro on the Cup schedule one day? I'm like at 5% on a yes. Like, right now, it's still a no until you can prove. I mean, it's a no until you can prove me right. I mean, it's smack dab right in the middle of Charlotte and Bristol, two huge markets. And if they cut Bristol down to one race, or if the dirt race does end up being good and you have two draws with Bristol, and then Charlotte, which has a huge attendance draw with the 600, then you're going to have a very small place on the schedule to ever put that for Cup or Xfinity. So right now, if Truck Series is the best we get with it, I'll take it. I'm someone who is completely fine if instead of going to Charlotte with the Truck Series, we go to North Wilkesboro. Like, that's completely fine by me.
I agree.
If it's like the start of more kind of standalone, kind of getting back to route short track for the Truck Series more, completely cool with that. But I think my big thing is that fans have to show support.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
You wanted it back.
Yeah. You can't complain for a quarter century and then not show up or watch.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Likewise, I think what we're going to have to see, whatever they can do to make it happen, they've got to get Dale Jr. or somebody like that racing in one of these.
It sounds like he's
Chase Elliott
interested.
Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Chase Elliott, he won there in like 2010.
I think Junior will. He said he wanted to race a late model there, but I think that, like, both people in the media, NASCAR itself, fans, everything like that, like, we got to get away from, like, we need to have 50-year-old Dale Jr. be our draw. I think what needs to be done is what used to happen in the 80s and the 90s and even back, before then, is get those Cup guys out there. Part of the reason that a lot of people in the racing community and, fringe fans don't really care much about the drivers is because the drivers aren't out there much. Bring them out to the people. Bring them out to North.
And 100% what you're just saying leads me to the next subject. My background's gone. Uh-oh.
Well, Hot Piss just said, so in other words, we should stop watching Texas by your logic, Jared.
I mean, not many people are going anymore comparatively.
I'd say that's already happening.
I wasn't going to watch it anyway, so it's not that big of a deal.
That is poetic justice, though. Like Texas, it's kind of been a whole, I guess, racing wise, and then North Wilkesboro's being brought back to life. It's like that one meme you saw, Jared. It's like, I'm back. I didn't die.
No, I think Danny, I think you said it.
You said that.
I lived.
I lived.
Going back to what I was trying to say before I realized the background was off back here. SRX. They've been making a lot of noise here lately because their season's coming back up on June 18th, which I'm really excited for SRX. I really have missed it. I'm ready to get that conversation back in the show a little bit. But SRX would be perfect to come here once these first renovations have been made. Awesome. I think that would be that'd be probably the biggest series to come to North Wilkesboro possible, honestly.
I think at this point it's between that and trucks. They did say, Marcus Smith did say 2024 at the earliest for the truck series, but he still believes that's very much a possibility. I agree. His plan is to get NASCAR. I don't know if the Cup Series will ever be realistic, but trucks, maybe Xfinity, certainly within reason. It helps that it's so close to their headquarters in Charlotte.
I feel like the worst case scenario for this whole experiment is, okay, if, Cup Series doesn't work out, at the very least, one truck series race per year, and most of the year late model races. Like, you can't tell me that community won't go to that track to at least see local late model races. Okay, late model racing is some of the best racing. It has some of the best racing throughout the country at short tracks across America and stuff. Like, you don't need, superstars like a Chase Elliott, a Dale Jr. to promote it. If the racing is good there, they will come. Okay, but again, fans, put money where your mouth is.
When we were in Rockford, watching the late model race at the Rockford Speedway, there were, I believe, 31 cars in the main, and nobody went a lap down to like 10 to go.
Now it was really long because they didn't count caution laps, but it was great.
But more what I'm saying is, like, when we went to the fairgrounds, for instance, I can't remember, it was well over 100, 50, maybe 200 laps for a late model race, and not many went a lap down there. You see. You get every bit of value out of what you pay for it. And I personally think late model racing is going to see a bit of a surge in popularity, the way that the racing wave is going right now. It's going to, so I think that North Wilkesboro could be in a perfect place when there's more people covering racing now, that they can get a bit of traction overall in the racing community by doing this. Now, do I think that they should do every day of the week other than Sunday like they're planning on right now? No. Like that, I think that'll oversaturate it, even for a small little town that wants to see racing every day like that. But I'll be real, if they can have a staple date with trucks and a staple date with SRX, like every year, those two major races are there, and then have the late model races be like the supporting series for it. Like, I think that's a perfect business model for that little town. Like, I don't think with a little short track like that, it won't take as much to do upkeep as it would for like a Michigan or a Daytona.
This kind of random. Did they announce that there's going to be lights when they do the renovation?
As far as I know, they have not said anything about that.
I don't know. Go back to those renderings. Did they show big lights in those? Because I imagine they would put lights. It's a short
I think
track.
that'd be too much of a commitment at this point to not know where it's really going.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think if we get a truck race there, they will.
Yeah.
Oh, they got all that tax
needs to be a
money.
night
They
race.
got all that money from the state. I feel like
They got $1 million from Marcus
Roy
Lemonis.
if you're gonna build a short
gotta
track
put it somewhere.
in North Carolina, I feel like they got to put lights up. That's just me, but I'm shocked
Yeah,
Martinsville
me too.
made it as long as it did without lights. Honestly,
Yeah.
It's like Wrigley.
Hey, even the track like just right down the road from our house has lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has lights. It's not a racetrack anymore, but it still has lights. So they can put lights in.
They didn't make it past the 90s.
well, we'll see what happens to North Wilkesboro. What I'm most excited about is that they have a plan. Like we saw these renderings, but we've seen National Fairground renderings for years now, and nothing has really happened yet. It's great to see an actual plan for racing to return just in the next few months. I think that's super duper exciting.
It's
especially
actually
for that area.
happening. It's not a dream anymore. It's
I thought
I think it's
I
good.
thought it wasn't real.
We're all a bunch of guys. I don't know how old you guys are, right, Only, but I imagine all of us here are basically in our 20s. I know Cup Series stopped racing at Wilkesboro before I was even born. Yeah,
Same.
here we all are talking
Yeah.
about how excited we are to see it back. So I can only imagine if you live in the area or if you've been watching NASCAR or racing for decades, how special this has to be. Like, I can only imagine.
I think my dad would be really excited for it.
At least for me, like, it was not a track I knew of in my childhood. I definitely had to learn more about NASCAR history before I ever knew about this track. Honestly,
yeah. Same
I hate to say that. I hate to say because that sounds so bad because of looking back on it, it was a very iconic track for NASCAR. But like, that's the truth. Just fans our age, we didn't grow up with tracks like that.
So when it was announced, and when I first learned about the news, a little before it was announced, I called up my my grandpa and my uncle, who were both big fans. My grandpa's been a fan since Marty Robbins was racing. My uncle was a fan. He was well into his teens when I think he might have been in college by the time North Wilkesboro stopped, being in Cup. So both of them have vivid memories of how it was, and hearing like they didn't think it was on their radar. So I can't imagine like. They probably got off the phone with me and probably like went on YouTube or like thought of like old, moments with Earnhardt and Waltrip and, maybe my grandpa Marty Robbins. I can't imagine how cool that would be. Cause like, I know, and I know it's not the same level and I don't want to say it is. For me though, if I found out tomorrow they were racing at Chicagoland, like I would have this joy in me that like nobody else that hadn't been going there, or watching races with that connection would understand. And so to think of like, almost 3 decades that there hasn't been like, because by the time they have actual NASCAR series racing, it might be over 30 years since that 1996 race.
Wow.
Like that's just amazing to me to think about. Like, I mean, it's more than I've been alive. So it's just, I'm happy for a lot of old school fans that even if it's just late model racing, and I don't mean to say that disrespectfully, they at least have that. They get a win this far after.
And also I'm happy for the North Wilkesboro community because after NASCAR had left, that community fell on hard times economically and stuff. So it's great to have the track back in some sort of capacity. And hopefully maybe someday, the Cup Series can return there. Hopefully.
It's something is in motion for the first time in what feels like forever. So, well, on that note, from a short track to a super speedway, we've reached that point in the show where we have to talk about this weekend's action at Talladega Super Speedway.
Talladega!
Thank you,
Okay.
What, can you say that again? I didn't hear. What track are we at this week? Daytona?
Talladega!
Oh, like that movie, that Will Ferrell movie. Oh,
That's
I
the one
love
that
John
Ricky
C.
Bobby
Reilly.
runs at.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
That
the one with
track's
Ricky Bobby.
real? That's not just a made up in the movie? Talladega's real?
They made Talladega Nights a real thing, guys.
I can't believe this.
Except they don't have lights,
Just-
as I
Yeah.
unfortunately had to experience last October.
Oh, God.
Well, we have Xfinity and Cup Series action. Give you guys the information real quick here. We're your television viewer guide right here. The Xfinity race on Saturday is called the AG Pro 300. It's 113 laps, very odd number. It starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. It is on Big Fox, so broadcast TV. It's also on MRN for the radio. Weather's pretty good, a little warm, 85 degrees, some clouds, only a 6% chance of rain. That's good to hear. Jeb Burton won the last Xfinity race at Talladega. We know those colleague cars are always fast. The Cup race on Sunday is, of course, the Geico 500, 188 laps as per usual. Starts at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox and will be broadcast on MRN. Similar weather, 84 degrees, mostly sunny, only a 12% chance of rain. So after weather delays the last couple weeks, hopefully we get another clean and green weekend here this Sunday. Brad Keselowski won the most recent or he won the last Talladega spring. Did he win the spring race last year, or did he win the fall race? He won the spring race. He was the defending
Bubba
race.
won the fall race.
Yeah, Bubba won the fall race. Keselowski won the most recent spring race. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in the booth. We haven't really talked about that too much, but yeah, Fox and NBC through the USFL, apparently, of all things, were able to come together and form this Avengers-like crossover with Dale Earnhardt Jr. joining Mike Joy and Clint Boyer this week. And I think everyone's excited to hear that.
That is the only thing the USFL has done that is good.
Yeah, at least one
That's
thing will come from this league that'll probably last
Yeah.
only like 3 months.
2 weeks.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
If you all remember though, this is not Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s first time commentating on Fox though. He has done some guest commentary for Xfinity series back in the day before he retired.
I was at that race in 2016. I think Daniel Suarez beat Kyle Busch on the last lap at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Real talent.
Darian, do you have your betting odds pulled up for
Yes,
this weekend?
I did them at the last minute. I saw it was playing. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I have to do them and stuff as soon as I got back from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But here is Darian's famous betting odds of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
We need like theme music.
Entering
I have a banjo out there. I'm gonna get a banjo.
I think we're good about the banjo.
Dang it! That was my big moment.
Anyways, Ryan Blaney enters this weekend as the odds-on favorite at plus 1,000 to win this weekend's Talladega race, followed by Joey Logano in P2 at plus 1,200. Denny Hamlin, P3 plus 1,400, and tied for third as well is Brad Keselowski and Chase Briscoe, also at plus 1,400. As for the best of the rest, the previous Talladega race winner, Bubba Wallace, sits up front of that category at plus 1,500. Tied with him is rookie and the last super speedway winner. The last super speedway winner was
Atlanta.
technically William Byron. Yeah. I have to get used to that now. The Daytona 500 winner, from this year. Austin Cindric is also plus 1,500. And finally, last week's race winner, Kyle Busch, is plus 1,600. Now for the famous underdogs. Leading this category, and I do consider him an underdog for super speedways, considering his track record, Kyle Larson is actually at a plus 1,600. Now, those who are making the odds might not watch racing that much because I would have put him at much higher odds to win based on his history. But yeah, hey, I see what they're
Get
doing
people
there.
to bet, man.
Yeah, exactly. Michael McDowell is sitting at plus 3,000. Harrison Burton at plus 5,000. Even though he's not having the best year, you have to remember in his NASCAR Cup Series debut at Talladega last spring, he scored a top 10. Not bad for your debut. So hey, he might do something. And finally, this guy really showed me something last weekend. Did pretty good in the heat races and stuff. I'm really curious to see how he will do at a totally different track like Talladega. Ty Dillon at plus 9,000. Oops, I'm sorry, I forgot to put one more, but I do remember this last one. Another rookie that's really impressed me this year, Todd Gilliland, enters this weekend at plus 10,000. Now, hey, he's doing pretty good. So hey, that might be, you might have a chance to get some money there. So hey, we'll see what happens. But yes, those are the betting odds. And really quick before we move on, let me go over the NASCAR Weekly Podcast fantasy standings inside the top 5. At number 1 is UGR2, who still holds the points lead. He's leading by nearly 100 points over second place, Toyota Tough. Third is Dawsonville Siren 9. Fourth is Trevor Sports 98. And rounding out the top 5 is Kenseth's Legacy 2. And then my mom continues to beat me in fantasy. She is P20. I am P49. So,
hey, top half of the field, though. Good job, Darian.
Hey, at least I'm in the top 50. Let's go. So.
Excellent stuff. Well, before we get into our picks for this weekend, we have to recap the pick points, and this is becoming my favorite segment.
Thank God Tyler Reddick didn't win. I was about to be mad.
I know.
I told Jared that too. I was like, hey, thank God she didn't win because Eric would have had a larger lead than he has.
As it stands, my lead is still respectable. I'm leading the points with 161 total. The chat, you guys are still P2, minus 11. Third, Darian on the podium. That's pretty great. Minus 23.
No, that's expectations are higher. I got to get that championship.
You got to start somewhere.
First, you're last.
Jarrett's 44 points back, and he's basically joined Danny in the basement at this point, who still sits minus 49.
I'm on the steps. I'm not all the way down in the basement.
Hey, Jared won a championship.
I'm on my way.
You're reaching for the light. You're trying to turn.
Okay. If I'm in the basement, Jared is like sitting on the washing machine in the basement. This time.
I'm bringing my trophy down from last year to show Danny what it looks like.
He won the championship last year. He don't care how he does this year.
I really don't. I got my win.
My biggest highlight is I led the points for week last year. That's about it.
Now, really quick, it's going to be interesting because we don't have a guest pick every week. So this week we do, and that'll take away some points. So basically,
and we actually have two, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so highest guest gets the points.
Exactly. So basically, this year having a guest pick is like a Cup Series driver racing in Xfinity. They get
You're
the points,
AJ Allman
because we saw this happen at Richmond when Jeff Fabiano got the win and took away all the bonus points and the top prize.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So hey, we'll see what happens.
It's also Talladega, which means, Jared, do you have your random number generator from last year?
I'm going to actually attempt to make up points this week.
All right. Well, I'll start things off as the points leader. We'll talk about the Xfinity race first. I'm sticking with the Colleague car. Colleague has been fast as heck at these tracks the last few years. They have a different driver lineup this year. I think I picked this guy for Daytona, and he ran okay. I'll go with Landon Castle. I think Landon Castle breaks through and wins this weekend. Next up, Darian, you'll be second. After I forgot to mention the order, Darian, Jarrett, Danny. We'll have the guests go and then the chat. So, Darian, you're up next.
This guy, I say for the most part, he's pretty good on the super speedways, and he's also gonna be racing in the Cup race in the Wendy's ride. I'm going with Noah Gragson to win at Talladega.
So I'm going to stick as well with Colleague, but I was looking back, whether he was with Colleague or without. He's been incredibly consistent when he wasn't with Colleague. Didn't get the win, obviously, in Daytona, but he was very, very fast. I think that Daniel Hemrick will be my pick to win.
With an average finish of 1.5 on super speedways this year, this guy is probably the best in the series right now on these types of tracks. I'm going to go with Austin Hill.
That's right. He did run up front at Atlanta as well. Good point. Whichever one of you guys wants to go first. We'll start with Turnpike if you're ready, because you're on my left. We'll go left.
We
to
were
right.
we were planning to like have one answer between the both of us.
That's
but we
fine.
get separate.
You can go for
You
that.
can do separate.
You
And
know,
the
I think
highest
for Xfinity,
wins.
I think for Xfinity we can pick differently, but we do have a concise pick for Cup.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to get a lot of boos. I can already feel it. I am an absolute Ty Gibbs fanboy. So I've got the signed hat that I met him at Daytona. He signed my hat. I got his die cast right there. When I grow up, I want to be Ty Gibbs, even though I'm older than him. So I can't come on the show and not pick who's basically my favorite driver. So I got to pick Ty Gibbs.
I feel like he's either going to win or he's going to cause the wreck.
We have
better
our
not.
own.
He
we have our
might
own
do
pick
both.
thing.
He might do both, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Oh my god.
We have our own picks that
I'm
we
gonna be
do during
honest,
our
I agree with
podcast.
that. So
We do our own picks during the podcast, and whoever I pick, DNFs pretty much almost every week.
yeah.
So
I agree with this one though. We'll just keep on.
yeah,
the
we'll
same
just stick
picks.
with Ty Gibbs.
Okay.
All right. And the chat seems to be going Allmendinger. Some of them did boo you for your
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs pick, but I guess that was predictable. If he causes the big wreck
Who
this
does not
weekend,
get-
he may not make it out of Talladega alive.
Yeah. there you go.
DM all your hate mail to me on Twitter. I'd love to read it. So.
The chat seems to go with Allmendinger.
Actually, please don't. We don't want you guys to do that.
Yeah, you're unleashing an avalanche you're not prepared for.
I'm ready for it.
Well, there's our
My
Xfinity
DMs are
picks. I think we had 3 colleague picks, a Gibbs pick, and a Gregson pick, and now we have 4. I guess if you count 4 colleague picks, if you count Allmendinger. Actually, no, we only had 3, right? Because you picked Austin Hill, Danny. So we had 3 colleague picks. I thought we'd have 4. Next up, let's talk about the Cup race, Sunday's Cup race. We'll begin with who's gonna suck. I guess I'll start us off. I can pick really anyone for this. I feel like Martin Truex Jr. never has a lot of luck at these tracks. I'll go with Truex, but this is where I do need a random number generator. Darian, who's your suck pick? Don't
Kyle Larson. Kyle
Okay,
Larson. That's
okay.
easy. That's easy, bro.
Okay.
That's easy.
Okay.
Ditto.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
same. We're all with Larson.
What about you guys? Do you guys have the same suck pick?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going with Cole Custer.
No, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping.
Every week.
That's what I thought you were gonna say, Darian, and I was like, no, not Custer.
Nah, Larson, bro. No, but no, I knew Custer was gonna be said. I knew it. Oh, my
I think the
God.
chat's
Like,
going with Larson.
Like even when he got the pole, even like in the media center, he was honestly surprised that he got the pole, and I think the general consensus was that he was definitely not gonna finish where he started.
Where did he finish?
I
this
love
time?
that he got pole and led 0 laps.
I-
He didn't
I-
lead the first lap.
Surprisingly, after having the overheating issue start, he actually I think still finished in the top 15. He actually didn't
Oh,
do
that's
that
a
Yeah,
heck
well,
of a
the rest of the
comeback.
race.
Okay, that's good for him. That's great. We can't talk negatively about Cole Custer every episode on here, guys. I don't know.
Hey,
You guys
he
deserve
keeps getting
that.
brought up.
we
I'm
don't.
sorry.
We've just accepted that we're never going to get asked back to this because we're so just awful. So we're going big or going home because we know we're never coming back.
Full
So,
send.
yeah.
Well,
you never
let's
know.
let's get to the dark horse Cup Series underdog. Talladega always allows for some exciting underdog picks. I'll start us off. Harrison Burton. We talked about him earlier, but he ran well, obviously here last year when he was making his first Cup start. But going back to Daytona, remember he was running up front, albeit with a loose as hell race car, but he was running up front with the leaders when he got spun by Brad Keselowski. So I think Harrison Burton may surprise some people. That Wood Brothers car, Fords are always fast here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Harrison Burton also. Got a top 10 in his debut. And, again, still learning this next-gen car. And, we did question, like, oh, is he ready for, the Cup Series and stuff like that? But he has a chance to save his season this weekend, not only with the win, but I really think that at the very least, a top 10 could go a long way towards his confidence for the rest of the year. So Harrison Burton, my underdog pick.
I'm going to go with somebody that rarely races anymore unless it's a super speedway. And for a team that I don't think anyone would ever really think to pick for being pretty good, but I'm going to go David Reagan with Rick Ware Racing.
He got a
in
top
15.
10 in the 500, yeah.
And I think that he is a good enough super speedway racer. He can keep care of that car, keep it in the main pack, which is something a lot of other Rick Ware drivers can't do. And I think he's going to be a top 10 underdog, dark horse kind of pick.
MVR owner agrees with you that David Reagan. He says David Reagan's going to win. So
I won't go that far, but I
Oh.
think he will be around at the end more than likely.
I was definitely like kind of considering that same thing, Jarek. But similarly, I'm going for a team that only shows up to trophy hunt, and that's beard oil. With Wendy's on board, I like the chances of maybe Noah getting up there for top 5, maybe even stealing a win.
All right, next up, Turnpike. You guys agree on this one? You guys have separate picks?
We do. We figured when we're picking a dark horse, might as well pick the actual dark horse. So we're going with Justin Haley. He's been extraordinarily good at Talladega and the Xfinity series.
Got lucky with the
maybe,
rain.
yeah, but he's still good at it. Even with a rain short race, you still got to put yourself up there.
Yeah.
So we're going with Justin Haley.
Well, I think the chat agrees with you. I'm seeing a lot of 31s in the chat. I'm surprised. I'll wait. I'll hold off until we get through our win picks. But there are a few names that I'm surprised have not really gotten much play, gotten much mention yet. But on that note, I guess we can go straight into the win picks. I'll lead us off.
Whoa, hold on. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win at Talladega? Come on, Eric. You know this. You know I do it.
At this point, it cuts out so much, I forget that it happens. He just blows out the microphone.
I just heard who's.
It's who's gonna
win. Okay.
Looks like on our end. It's like a pitch that only dogs can hear. All right, sorry about that, Darian. I've been stepping all over your lines tonight. I want to say this publicly. I do apologize.
I missed this show. I missed the beginning of the first 30 minutes.
No. Don't try to Tyler Reddick this. This is my fault. I messed up.
We get it. You guys are like Tyler Reddick and Chase Briscoe. Get to the damn picks.
All righty. I'm not gonna go with a typical super speedway ringer. I'm gonna go with Ross Chastain. I just think Chastain's fast every week. He's aggressive. Yeah. I think he'll keep his nose clean. He'll dodge the big wreck, and he'll be there to make the move at the end.
Worked for you last time.
Yep. I'm 1 for 1 on my Chastain picks this year.
Listen, man.
100% win rate.
Listen, y'all. This guy, he always finds a way to win at Talladega. In my opinion, he's this generation's, best Talladega racer, over the past decade. He got his first career win here in wild fashion. He is having a very tough season in his first year as a car owner, but Brad Keselowski gets his first win as a NASCAR Cup Series car owner, and he's finally going to get them out of that hole of negative points after getting the win, and he can't lock his way into the playoffs quite yet because he's not inside the top 30, but maybe this win could go a long way, and then eventually he'll get inside the top 30 and then lock his way in at a later date. But I like Brad Keselowski's chances of winning this weekend at Talladega.
So what you're saying is you're going to tweet about him, and then that's not going to happen.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that.
Are they running identical schemes?
I can't lose, bro.
Are they running matching schemes this weekend in the RFK shop?
Oh, I don't know.
Or are they doing separate schemes? Because I want to see all that economical sense that they run when they run the.
Excuse me. This is NASCAR, not F1.
Yeah.
All right.
You're the worst take of your life.
Going to my pick. I looked back at the Daytona 500 and Speed Weeks for mine for the most part, and something I noticed is that the Fords were far and away the ones to beat. A Ford won, in the dual races. Ford won the 500. Ford was very fast at Atlanta as well. So I think a Ford is going to take this one home. And then I was looking at who was fast all Speed Weeks and in general was pretty good. So I'm going to agree with Vegas on this one. I'm going to take the favorite. I'm going to go Ryan Blaney because it seems like, on average, he wins every 1 or 2 Talladega races, and by technicality, he's in a slump right now. So I think it'll be a slump buster. I think that Blaney right now is a safe pick, and I'm gonna go with my gut on this one because every time I pick Blaney to win here, he wins. So knock on wood, he wins, I guess, for me.
Well, you're saying Blaney will finish it. I'm saying my guy will finally finish it. Redemption from last week. Tyler Reddick gets his first win.
Hey,
he's not gonna get himself wrecked in the 3 to go block like he always does.
At least no one can back into him trying to do a slide job at this track. So
hey, you never know.
Didn't Reddick himself try a slide job at Daytona a couple of years ago? That set
off
a
big wreck. He did. Yeah. Actually, wait, it was last year, wasn't it? It was last year.
Was it 21?
No, it was the 2020.
Oh, 2020. My bad. 2020. That was Chase Elliott. That was Chase Elliott who did that last year.
It was the 20.
Don't get mad at Chase Elliott.
You repent for your sins right now, Darian.
Twitter police. Turn or burn.
But yeah, the 2020 night race, that was when Reddick went a little too far out there.
So
Went
anything's
nuts.
possible. Don't Briscoe better watch out for him. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
All right. Do you
Well-
guys have the same pick? I forget for this one, or are you guys going
we
different?
do.
Oh boy.
It's funny because we talked about how bad the team is doing earlier, and y'all are like, "Yeah, there's no way they're gonna win." We're going for the full shot. Bubba Wallace gonna do it again.
Hey,
I was
He
waiting
gets
for
up there
someone.
one way or another.
He's so good at super speedways.
He
and
is.
People will look for any reason in the world to discredit him.
No.
But
He finished
is
second in the
so
500.
good on super
Yes.
speedways.
Finished
I mean,
second in the 500.
RPM,
Yeah.
RPM 2311. Doesn't matter where he's at. He's
Yeah.
up there.
He's
He was
great.
running up there in the 43 car before the 43 car was as good as it is. So
Yep.
I'm glad you guys mentioned Bubba, and I'm glad you mentioned Brad Keselowski, Darian. Those were the names that I thought would come up in the underdog round, but nah, we're going all in.
No,
Win
we're on
this
wins,
thing.
bro.
I like
bonus
it.
pick this weekend. Charles Leclerc is going to win the F1 race. Just throwing
Hey,
that out.
hey, there you go.
I got the
Yes.
signed picture in the back. I'm praying. So
Future
And,
F1 champion,
I,
bro.
I think we got the
Absolutely.
chat pick pretty much nailed down.
Blaney.
Yeah, I'm
They
seeing
Blaney.
almost all
Yeah.
Blaney's. Yeah.
Yep, chat. You made your bed. You got.
I see some
Blaney.
Bubbas.
Blaney, you're all with me.
There's some Bubbas. Noah.
I see an Alex Bowman from a very not biased 48 fans account.
Is that your burner, Danny?
It's
48 fans.
I
can you
think we got our
believe
pick though.
it's
So.
basically Blaney, y'all. Yeah, it's been decided.
Ferrari.
it? Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Ferrari's going to win the Talladega race.
There's always a team.
F1
All
cars
right.
in the middle of the Cup race.
Eric, we got any more super chats to look over?
We do. Now that we've talked Talladega and everyone sat through our grueling picks, we have to get to the remainder of the super chats. Really appreciate your support. Let me make sure I am picked up where I left off. We have a ton of super chats from Jar Jar Binks that I feel like I should just read through them all like at the same time. He says Misa thinks Bristol Dirt is very stupid and gives the sport bad PR. I disagree with that. He also said that he thinks Doo-Doo Head Harvick is washed up. And he also was talking to Isaac in the chat, who said that Harvick, he sent a super chat saying Harvick is greater than Kyle Busch and that the Fox pre-race is greater than Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks retaliated saying that Misa thinks Yusa secretly love Misa. So we have a whole arc here between some of our super chatters. And Darian, you gotta stop playing with David's stuff.
So this is
We
David
could get
Land's
some
like
Starfighter blanket. That would be perfect. Oh, get the Yoda. Get the Yoda.
All right, Napa Racing
Rogue One
fan.
coming in.
Napa Racing fan sent 2 and said, "Here's 2 for a hot dog, Eric. I know how much you love them." Yeah, they're great. I'll save that up for next year. From Jam Plays Games, Matty D. Oh God, he quoted you. Who was it earlier? Was it you, Jared, who said, "What are you doing, step truck?" Yeah, now we have apparently now Matty D's.
Step truck.
Oh gosh, Gavin Adcock, always good to see you. Hey Jared, I watched your grades video in defense of Larson. Most of his DNFs were good runs beforehand. I have not
You
watched.
didn't
your video
finish him
yet.
out though.
Jared,
Either
no.
way.
Fair
That's-
enough. His
I-
one
I'm
win.
very results based. I
He-
still gave him like I think a B.
He has a win. He did have to wall a teammate to get, but he has a win. Thank you, Irvin Alvarado, for the 10. Appreciate that. I went to the New York Auto Show, and in Toyota's show floor, they had a NASCAR Heat 4 for people to try out. In Kyle Busch show car, you can go inside and take a photo. Ironically, hours later, Kyle Busch wins. That's cool.
And it definitely wasn't going to be NASCAR 21 ignition. That's for sure.
Damn, NASCAR Heat 4. Yikes. Hot Piss, thanks for the 2. NASCAR Goes Death Race. I think that was when you guys were talking about racing in the woods around safer barrier trees. I think it had something to do with that. Isaac sent another 2. He was unfazed by Jar Jar Binks' insults, saying, "Convert Atlanta to a dirt track, please."
Hey.
Oh my goodness, wild things happening.
That's wild.
Should have mentioned this earlier, but Fat Dad with 2 T's and 2 D's dropped a fat 50 earlier in the evening. Really appreciate that very generous support, saying Busch will have to beat guys like Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Logano, Blaney, Byron, Bowman, Reddick, Briscoe, Ross, Ty Gibbs, and others, talking about him getting to Dale Earnhardt's win total. I think it all comes down to the cars, because at least 5 of those guys will be more consistent than him as the years go on. So he sounds at least a little skeptical about Kyle Busch reaching Dale Earnhardt's win mark. I think we all said earlier, a lot of us sound a little lukewarm on it. I think if he races for 6 more years, he gets it. So I think it's very likely he'll get it. But we've had that whole debate earlier in the show. Appreciate you chiming in, Fat Dad. Crouch K85, thanks for the 5. Kyle Busch backs into a win. Alex Bowman, Oh, I see you have learned my winning ways. That's right. He's learned his strategy. Ryan Boucher, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you for the 5. My first race in person, 2015 June Pocono race when Jeff Gordon had the Penn State scheme. I saw the car when Jeff Gordon drove it in State College, PA. That's pretty cool. Pocono, first race. Yeah. Still yet to make it up there. Have anybody here, have you guys been to Pocono, right sides only? Have you all ever been up to Pocono?
We haven't.
None of us here have been to Pocono. Maybe someday that'll change. Pocono sounds beautiful.
I should have went last year.
I like going to good tracks.
Yeah, we like going to tracks where they race well. So,
GN, thank you for the 5. Compromise, doubleheader Bristol weekend. 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday night. The fans get the price of 1 ticket for the dirt weekend. Move it to Eldora. Ooh, I don't know. You guys think the night race could coexist with a day race the day before? Or vice versa, night race and a day race?
No, I don't think so, personally.
No, we can't. Not with the way they run those weekends. No.
Good-
They'd have to overhaul it completely.
Very creative, GN, but yeah, I don't think that would work out. Lord Voldemort, we talked about this earlier. He said he prefers the 7th plate race over a dirt track. Andrew Mayer, thanks for the 5. Ironic that the guy who said dirt racing takes the sport back won the dirt race. KFB really is a master of Bristol, even if he got a Bowman-style win. I don't know, we're not calling him Bowman-style. We're just saying he backed into it. Come on, that's not fair to Bowman.
Okay, yeah, you can't do that because there's lots of guys that did that. Kyle Busch won his Clash in 2021 like that. Blaney won the Charlotte Roval like that.
They all
You're gonna
Bowman
get
did.
Danny on the warpath, y'all.
Danny's gonna go.
I'm ready to throw down.
He's gonna go scorched earth on the chat.
Gosh.
Dakota Henderson, thanks for the 2. They should put dirt on Martinsville. Shoot, after a couple weeks ago, maybe. I don't know.
Don't mess with that. Don't mess with that one. That one doesn't have an attendance problem like Bristol does.
Yeah, good point.
Nova Stone 12, thanks for the 2. How many dirt races should we do? Both Bristol dates? I don't know if he's asking as a question, like suggesting we should do 2 Bristol dirts.
Bristol,
Oh no!
I don't think so.
I think
Bristol,
one.
Eldora.
From Kevion D. Weston, little off topic, but how would you guys feel about a speed racer type motorsport in the future, based off the movie, if you guys have seen it? You mean based off the show? I watched the classic show as a kid.
The movie was It was bro.
I'm good.
But
I need to go back and see. How would that even be possible? How could you even do like
Video games.
video games.
Yeah, just esports. I guess you have to do it that way. Thank you, Antar Das. I couldn't watch the ending of the race due to the fact that I have to get up at 5 a.m., but it was an exciting finish. Also, the vortex theory is real in every racing series. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lord Voldemort. The Dark Lord wishes everyone a happy 420. However, the Dark Lord thinks NASCAR celebrated on Sunday because it was a total joke of a race and officiating.
Happy 420, everybody.
The Dark Lord's spreading negativity everywhere he goes. Speaking of 420, Chips Never sent $4.20 saying, should Xfinity have a dirt race?
I think it's the joke.
No.
They said the joke. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think
funny
it's,
number.
Trucks. I think Trucks Xfinity. Or no, excuse me, Trucks
You know
and Cup
what?
is good.
I'll be a contrarian. Why not? Why not give it a shot?
Why not? I don't know. I'd be curious to see who stands out. I want to know what if Gregson's secretly a
Gibbs.
great dirt racer?
But it's gonna
Ty
take
Of course,
Gibbs would
why
win.
not even
Ty
ask?
Gibbs.
Of course, yes.
Ty Gibbs.
Robert Russo, thank you for the 10. Very generous of you. Talk about how NASCAR should race on dirt. Talks about how lucky another. Oh gosh. Oh, he's talking about Kyle Busch's winning strategy. He's saying he talks about how NASCAR shouldn't race on dirt, then he wins the race. And he talks about how lucky another driver is to back into wins, and then he backs into wins. So yeah, Kyle Busch just using like reverse psychology to get these trophies. Thank you for the super chat, Robert. Thank you, James Greer. He sent 2 asking, have any of y'all played Circuit Superstars?
No.
No, I don't know what that is.
I'll look it up when
We'll look it up after the show. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, James. This may be important stuff. Thank you, Nova Stone, again for another 2. The Chase Blaney points battle is getting 0 coverage. And we're to blame for that. We didn't even mention that tonight. How close are they? Are they still tied? I don't know. They're really close, though.
Well, I mean, like in our defense, I mean, that's kind of NASCAR's fault because, they have playoffs. So it's like it won't really matter anyway.
I mean, it matters for some of the playoff points,
Yeah.
but it won't matter till later in the season.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, it's kind of NASCAR's fault there.
Kyle Hart, thanks for the 5. If all the drivers didn't watch Cars before racing, they failed. Also, Ratatouille sucks. Oh, God. I can't.
No,
believe-
damn.
Ratatouille
Never said it was
slam.
How
bad.
many?
I said
How
it was
many weeks?
overrated.
How many weeks has this been going now?
Jarrett,
3 or 4.
Jarrett, you asked for this. I know you didn't say it sucks.
Ratatouille is not a bad movie. I said it was overrated. There's a difference.
You know
Still
the
Ratatouille slander.
you know the internet doesn't detect that kind of
They don't
subtlety.
care.
Their problems are not my fault.
Napa Racing Fan, thanks for the super chat. Bring back Rockingham. Hashtag replace Texas with Rockingham. It may happen. Beautiful
there's only
karmic
so
justice.
There's only so many North Carolina tracks. By the way, 3 points.
Yeah.
Elliott is 3 points ahead of Blaney.
Oh, that is
Okay.
close. That is close.
Pretty close, yeah.
Thank you, James Greer. Another 2. Imagine this car makes Texas good. Could happen.
Ah.
Let's not get crazy here. No, I think it could
Nah.
happen.
And if it doesn't, we can blow it up for good.
Oh, well, geez.
Tried doing
Walmart.
that to itself
So
earlier
violent.
last year.
Walmart.
Nobody was hurt in that,
mean,
right? We can
there's-
joke about that, right? The like,
No one was
gas
hurt.
explosion.
We can make a joke.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just expand the Buc-ee's next door.
Fine,
Yay.
fine by me. Make a super mega ultra Buckies. Thank you,
Maybe we'll
Isaac.
see more people getting married at it.
Like a reception at the Buckies. Thank you,
Yes.
Isaac, for the 2. My pick to win, Thomas the Tank Engine. Choo choo. So he's pulling for some train
Fair
racing.
pick. I think he's got a chance.
Corvette Racing 48. What number is Thomas Tank Engine? Is he like number 1?
One. So be Ross just
That
saying.
was my pick.
Number 1. Nah.
Corvette Racing 48, thanks for the 5. If Ty Gibbs causes a wreck that takes out Jeffrey Earnhardt, then he'll need security to escort him out of the
Oh
track.
my gosh.
Don't put that evil on Ty Gibbs. He needs a week off. He needs a quiet weekend. GN, thanks for the super chat. Darian, I'm inside you, David Land's house. Gilliam. You didn't say it.
Oh my god. I am inside you, David Land's house.
Oh, thank God you added this house.
I'm glad you put the house on there.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat, Noah Lewis. Always good to talk to you at the racetrack. Great NASCAR reporter, has some great coverage.
Yeah.
Be following him on Twitter. You should also be subscribed to him on YouTube as well. We may have to get him on the show here before.
Don't
too
worry,
long.
Noah. We're
good
gonna
to
take that channel down soon. Don't worry.
Noah Lewis, thanks for the super chat. Didn't leave a message, but always good to see you, Noah. Thank you, NASCAR Bowman 48 for the 2. Daytona 500 champ Austin Cindric wins. So he's chiming in with his Talladega prediction. The last few here, Napa Racing Fan again. The 2017 Fall Dega race killed me when Brad K won with cheers to Dale Jr. on the bumper and Dale Jr.'s final Dega start where he got his final pole. That race was crazy. Wasn't Dale like one of the final like 5 cars left running at the end of that thing?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, this is a wild name. Blind Spot, 4 Blind Spot, and other letters. Thank you for the 2. Go Bubba Wallace. Do it for Dale. Dale. I love the way it's spelled.
Dale. Yes, sir.
Bubba Wallace going for back-to-back Talladega wins. And lastly, I believe from Kyle Hart, thanks for the 2. Thinking about going to Road America. Should I go?
Yes.
I'd say why
It's,
not?
Yes.
an awesome experience.
It's a whole adventure and a race weekend in one. You get
Everyone
to hike,
says-
basically it's awesome.
Everyone says to camp out at tracks, but if you're going to camp out at one, I think Road America is the one probably to do. Between that and Talladega, for sure. Because Road America,
Talladega.
you're basically up in the woods. Well, but it depends. If you're like not the rowdy type, then maybe Road America is a little more
Hey,
subdued.
Slapshoes camped out there and he
Well,
was plastered.
But he's
Yeah,
the Slapshoes people may not
He's
know.
the rowdy.
He's kind of wild.
So I will be at Talladega this weekend. We are actually camping not in the infield on the outside of Talladega. So I think that's more of a. It might not be that tame, but it's tamer than the infield for sure.
But yeah, get into the infield, man.
Money.
And I believe
I'll send you some if you need to. I want to see what's in there.
Gosh.
I'm sure you do. That's family friendly on a Danny B Talks vlog.
Yes.
I
wanna
guess
see-
you
I-
can
I wanna
have the
see-
members only version.
I want to see
Okay,
a certain.
okay.
I want to see a
Gosh.
certain. Hey, hold on. I want to see a certain race in the infield. If you catch my drift, you guys, you tell me y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all know.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
you
you
just
know what
got to
I'm
make a
talking
choice.
this is what happens when we go past 10 p.m. Eastern time. Even by just a couple of minutes, things go off the rails quickly. Well, I believe that's going to do it for Super Chats. We got a ton of those tonight. We really appreciate your support. Also, great to have so many viewers tonight. We had over 500 concurrent viewers pretty much all night long. So really appreciate all of you guys showing up on a Wednesday night between Bristol and Talladega. After a holiday weekend, you guys are truly the best. Next week, the same time, but on a different place. We'll be on Danny B Talks' channel right down there. He's even got his logo there in the background you can see. We'll be live at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, April 27th. We'll go
Hey,
over...
hold up. Who's the special guest? Who's the special guest?
Do we know the special guest yet?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go get him. David,
Is that next week?
get in here. Let's go.
I lost
Yes,
track.
that's next week.
Yeah.
Just demand. Get in here right
There
now.
we go. So yes, next week David Land will be in here, and
Hey, there's
look
the
who
purple
it
man.
is! Look who it is!
Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm getting like What's up?
Yeah, we were just talking about you're going to be on the show next week, apparently. That's news to me. I totally forgot what
It was
day
news
it was.
to me too. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I saw his name in there, so I was like, hey, you want to come on next week? He's like, yeah, sure.
I look
why
like
not?"
hell.
Yeah,
right
we'll
now.
have you on before Indy too. We'll get you at
All right,
both
get out.
sides of May.
Oh, no, don't kick him out. You can't kick the man out of his own house.
Trying to kill David Lamb. What's
Man's
going on?
trying to kill me in my own house.
Breaking news: Darian Gilliam attacks David
This
Land.
much hospitality. I mean,
You give an inch, they take
what
a
am I
mile.
saying? Did I say something? Oh, no, I wouldn't say anything.
Tell him nice hoodie. Aren't they in the playoffs?
I want everybody in the chat to watch the 8500 video next.
Yes, watch it. I'm in it as well.
I love that. He comes in just in time to plug himself.
This is all just an elaborate brand deal.
Yeah, very impressive, man. Business never stops with David Lamb. What a great cameo to wrap the show up. I do want to thank our permanent guests who are here all night long. Right Sides Only. I have a link, your Spotify link down in the description below. Definitely people should check you guys out. You'll have a new episode of your podcast coming out tomorrow. But thanks for being on the show first and foremost. Where else can people find you guys on social media?
Everywhere, but our social media kind of stinks, so keep that in mind. We
Bad
have
way
really
to
bad
sell it,
podcasts,
guys.
so we have really bad social media, so they kind of go in together.
At Right Sides Only Pod on Twitter and Right Sides Only on Instagram.
Yep. Posting all sorts of garbage there. We're big short track guys.
A lot of short tracks.
I'm actually going to be the announcer for a race series this year. We start this Saturday at Anderson Motor Speedway in South Carolina. So if you've heard me talk and you're like, God, I hate that guy's voice, don't be at Anderson Motor Speedway. But we're doing all that kind of stuff. So feel free to check out the podcast. Check us out. We are to be fair, I have warned you, we have described ourselves as the worst NASCAR podcast.
You're too hard on
keep
yourselves.
Keep that in mind when you listen. So keep that in
All
mind.
the more reason to listen.
Well, hey, to be fair, you said you guys were the worst podcast. You guys said you're bad at social media. Every good social media, every good podcast implies that they were once bad at one point. So
Hey, at
Nowhere
We
to
were
go
bad
back.
when we started, and through a lot of hard work, we've gotten even worse.
That's
So-
commendable.
I'll give y'all this. Hey, at least you
ain't
guys
much,
don't
but it's
steal
honest
content. At least you guys don't steal content. So hey, it's worth watching or listening.
Well,
Yeah.
You got the
you
basics
wait for me
out
to
of the way.
upload this in its entirety to our podcast channel.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, for spoiler alert, tomorrow's Right Sides Only is just this podcast on
Yeah, we didn't record one today. We were like, I've got like a recorder in the corner. But
Tomorrow at noon.
tomorrow at noon. Spotify,
oh.
Apple Podcasts, everywhere.
Awesome.
oh, did you guys hear that? I think it just was the Zoom thing said recording ended.
Oh, yeah, well, I heard that. Yeah.
Oh, you thought you guys could sneak that past us? No.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, we could not be more thankful to be able to come on stuff
Absolutely.
like this. You guys have all been big inspirations to us.
Thank you.
So we
That
really
was fun.
appreciate it. I tried to sneak in as many references in the background as I could. So I've got the Yankees because the Astros are terrible. I have my Giannis jersey because the Rockets are terrible.
What?
I saw Denny delivers in the chat, so I got a signed Wallows CD back here. I got the Charles Leclerc.
Why
I'm
did
just
you wait until
throwing,
the
you
end
know?
to just like? make
Because
sure
if
we
I wait
never
till
hear
now,
again?
he can't kick me off beforehand. So this whole podcast was an elaborate scheme to get on the NASCAR Weekly podcast to insult the Rockets, and I think I've succeeded in my goal.
Hey, Jalen Green's a superstar. Take it out of the
He
bank.
is. That is true.
He's gonna be a superstar. Watch.
Well,
but
Oh Lordy.
this
jokes
has been
aside, thank you guys so much.
This
Yeah,
has been a
thank
good
you.
time. We'll never do it again, but we do appreciate you guys being on for 2 hours. Everyone go check out
Done, dude.
Right Sides Only. Their link is down in the description below. Be sure to listen to their latest episode. It comes out tomorrow. You said at noon, correct? So a date we know David Land will be
Noon.
listening.
Noon. NASCAR should take some notes. I mean, we put it out at noon. So
Yeah, Thursday afternoon racing. I think that's NASCAR's bread and butter. We got that down pat.
tea time racing, you know.
Shoot, if midweek night racing was bad ratings, I don't want to know what midweek day racing would be.
I think we need to do Wednesday morning at like 7:30.
So immediately after today's noon news, we're cutting instead of our usual soap operas, we have NASCAR on today actually. So here you go.
We interrupt Seinfeld and Little Sheldon to bring you the NASCAR.
No. We interrupt Jerry to bring you.
God, don't you touch Jerry Springer, okay? If they take Jerry Springer off the air, I will freaking lose it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I think we
Imagine,
need to get out now.
imagine a NASCAR race with daytime television's best people, Dr. Phil commentating NASCAR.
Oh.
Get him to
We
wave
put
the green
Dr. Phil in
flag.
the 3 car. And
Ooh.
oh my goodness,
I'm gonna have to
that's
send
$1 million
that guy to the
idea.
ranch.
And, hey, Eric, this show is going off the
The
rails.
t-shirts
I-
sell themselves.
Ty Gibbs to the ranch.
Ty Gibbs versus Dr. Phil in the infield.
God.
Dude, we're
Okay,
gonna see Ty
and-
Gibbs.
and-
It's the Dale call when we need it.
It's time to end it. See y'all next week on my channel.
Where's the Dale call?
Gibbs family gonna be on Family Feud before we know it. That's where we're
Gibbs
at. versus.
versus Kardashian. It'd be nonstop TV.
Oh, I actually do have the Dale call. Good call there.
Yay.
I actually have it.
Alright.
Thank you everyone for joining us again. Be sure to check out the Right Sides Only podcast. NASCAR Weekly podcast will be back next week, next Wednesday night on Danny B's channel. Thanks for joining us. On that beautiful note, I'm gonna play us out. I'm gonna play us a little tune.
Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Cars spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes!